Right. Okay. I'm going live.
All right.
I was just pardon me everyone. I was just moving some stuff around because one thing I was trying to do was figure out how I can get the window of the chat of me and Gajeel in like its own separate window rather than it be just a portion of it on Discord. But it's all good. We can just roll with it this way. So I'm learning as we go. I was taking some cues from Every Frame of Pause on how they do it with how they do it so that they can have everyone displayed in a certain screen and then everyone can tell. Um but this will work. This will work just fine. Yeah, this will work out just fine. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the big review that me and Gajeel were looking forward to this entire time. Now, we talked about this, I want to say about a month ago, or maybe about a month and a half ago, where he wanted to have enough time to play through Sandalphon and the last bit of content that we got as a whole for this game before we had like this big massive discussion about GRANBLUE as a whole. And I am very happy to say that now we can fully talk about this game. And of course, we'll talk about some other things as well. But I figured that this would be a perfect time for us to just say everything that we wanted to say about GRANBLUE that some things we may have said already, but it's a good chance for us to reiterate. But before we get really started in here, let's just go ahead and get this intro out the way. Yo, peoples! Qushu92 here, and welcome to Qushu and Gajeel's GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK review. Now, you already know who I am, but we have with us today the Assassin-Gajeel. So, my friend, go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we can get underway.
Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to talk about this. It's been a long time coming, and we're just gonna lay it out on the floor and just tell you why we love this game so much and why we put almost nearly 500 to 600 hours in this game. So yeah.
So let's wind the clocks back a little bit to before we even had this game on our radar. We came across this game a bunch of times, and I want to say we probably heard of this game and probably saw like its early phases and early looks before we even knew each other. So we throughout like 2016 all the way upwards to now, this game has had like a presence, but it was one where not too many people were paying attention to it. And I have to admit, during some of the years when it was still developing and showing gameplay and stuff before of what it looks like now, I was looking at it, and I remember the first time I looked at the demo, I think I was like really sleepy because I was working at Harris Teeter at the time, and I had just gotten home from a shift, and I was watching the video, but I was also very tired from working. So I remember seeing its early phases, but I was also incredibly tired from it. So it was kind of fuzzy at best. And some more time passes and it actually starts to show up a lot more in showcases. We start to hear more and more about it. Me and Gajeel start to put this game on our radar, and it started to really check all of the little notches, all the little check marks of what we enjoy with games. It started to check all those boxes, and the more we saw it, the more we really started to like it. And then when we saw gameplay of like Gondagoza and how they build all of these different characters, it massively appealed to us. And it wasn't until we played the demo where it was completely solidified of we need to play this game. And then finding out that it had multiplayer as well, so me and him could both play and we could just go through missions and farm and do all these different things. Everything we really like about video games is in GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK. Now, for me, this was my first GRANBLUE game of any kind. I know they have the game for GRANBLUE on mobile all the way in Japan, because we never got it here in the US. And of course, we have GRANBLUE Fantasy versus Rising, yes?
Hmm.
We got Versus Rising, and of course, I'm not really big on fighting games, though I do make exceptions. I'm not really big on fighting games, so GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink was my first GRANBLUE game, and playing it, everything clicked. The gameplay was incredibly satisfying. These different characters was incredibly satisfying. The characters they gave us access to during the demo before the game went live the following year. Playing as Narmaya was incredibly fun, and then you have Gandagoza, which is basically just One Punch Man. Even though I really don't play much of Gandagoza as much as I used to, uh, what they gave us in the demo was incredibly satisfying to play, and it made the both of us even more excited to play the game as a whole. So that's just my take. Gajeel, feel free to jump in at any time to let everyone know what you think about GRANBLUE as a whole. So yeah, the floor is yours, man. Go ahead.
Um, so this isn't my first time playing Grand Blue. I did play Grand Blue Versus when it first came out. That was my first experience into World of Grand Blue, and I played it for like a little bit. And then I kind of fell off of it. This is like the first version because Rising is the updated kind of, I would say, sequel to the first Grand Blue Versus fighting game. So I kind of fell off, and then I just, on a whim, just looked up like Grand Blue because I was really interested in the characters and stuff like that. I actually thought they were really cool looking, so I was like, let me just go look and see. And then I saw some gameplay, and this was like early gameplay at the time. Grand Blue was being developed by Platform Games, or no, excuse me, Platinum Games, and they were actually in the early developments of it. And I saw gameplay, and it was gameplay of the four Dragon Knights, which were, um, if I can remember them, Siegfried, Percival, and Vayne. I'm forgetting the other one, Lancelot. So they were basically doing gameplay, and at one point I was just amazed because I was like, "Oh man!" I was really worried because I was like, "I hope this makes to like the Americas," because you see those games where you usually are like, "Man, this ain't making it to America. Like this looks too good to be true," and sometimes it just falls in the darkness and never to be seen again. But over a while, everything kind of went quiet, so I didn't really look it up anymore. But then I think during like early the 2020s, like 2021, 2022, a resurgence came and it kind of blew up. It mainly blew up when Rising was really coming back, and they did a whole big update, changed a lot of things. Which, like I said, I fell off on the first version, but Rising, I put at least 136 hours into that game. I really enjoyed the fighting game, and while that was going on, me, Qushu, we were just looking up stuff daily for Grand Blue news, stuff on Twitter, any new updates, any new gameplay. Because at that time, Grand Blue Fantasy, uh, basically Relink was, getting promoted, it was getting marketed like heavily. So, I didn't really buy any other game at that time because I was really anticipating this because at the time it was coming out, which was so crazy. And I'm surprised because you didn't even mention it. At that time, it was so crazy during the holiday, like, just in general, like we had Christmas, and I forgot what was coming out on Christmas, but we were just anticipating, just like we were anticipating three games. Um, First game was Relink. Second game was Suicide Squad, which came right after Relink, and then
Literally
at
the
the
day
end of the
after.
month, yeah, literally the day, it literally came out the day after. Then like literally like the end of the month was Rebirth for Final Fantasy. So we just looked at it and we are like, "Oh god." Like that was back to back, back to back. And so when it came out, obviously, I had the early access, so I played it like a few days ahead of Kushu. And man, when I tell you that was just perfect. It was really, really, really fun. And then at the time when Qushu finally was able to stream it and stuff, he we got it, got online and we just had a great time. And it was really fun. I would say mostly what really got us was just the quest. Not necessarily mainly the story, but just questing and just like getting powerful was one of the main things that kept us going. And plus, like, um, even though we had our mains, every character felt great.
Mm-hmm.
There was really no bad character, really. I mean, surely there is a meta. There are tier lists, and trust me, the meta has been broken not once, not twice, but 3 times. Uh, and it was just wonderful, man. We just like there was really nothing else. We couldn't even really say anything bad about the game because we didn't have any issues. I know people had some discrepancies about the game, i.e. the sigil system, but I mean, there's a lot of things to this game. Like they have loadouts, so you don't stick with just one build. You could do multiple builds and have loadouts for these builds for different occasions. And trust me, certain characters thrive in certain different situations. Certain missions require certain characters. Unless you're just really good with your main. But yeah, one thing I liked about this game mostly, this game keeps you on your toes, man. Um, you think you may be fighting one boss, but you be fighting like at least 2 to 3. And uh, one positive, really, really positive note I will say about this that not a lot of games do. This is probably the first game where it has competent AI, where the AI doesn't just stand there. The AI actually attacks. It actually like picks up items. It doesn't like just, it's not brain dead. It actually thinks. It's like, "Oh, okay, you're doing this, well, I'll do this. If you're attacking, I'll attack with you. If I'm hitting my ultimate, then the AI is hitting its ultimate." Or even this, the AI will just hit its ultimate by itself. You don't even have to say it, which is pretty interesting. And you have an option where you can turn it off and on. And yeah, it was a great experience. I mean, obviously the story, I enjoyed it. It's not necessarily. I will say this: if you're just starting off with Grand Blue, which I know most people that was their first Grand Blue game, um, it does give you character stories, which is the best thing about this game. The character stories, kind of gives you more in depth of the character that you're playing, or just in general, just gives you a whole like expansive look upon the characters that are in this world, which is one thing that I really do enjoy. I do love lore, and the funny thing is, the weapons have lore. Everything in Grand Blue
Mm.
has lore. And nothing is really insignificant. Uh, and like there's just so many quests, so many things, so much material, so many different ways for you to unlock new different things. Um, I haven't currently 100% it yet, but I'm close. I'm really close. And that will probably be like either my 7th or 8th plat. But, you know, this was undoubtedly my 2024 like favorite game, I would say. Um was it 2024 or 2023?
Uh,
2023, excuse me. Or is it 2024? I don't know.
no, it came
What
out
year is
this
it?
year.
Okay, but this year. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, you're right, because it's February. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, definitely this year. Yeah. I was tripping. I was like, oh my God, am I tripping? Okay.
No,
Um,
it came out this year. It came out this year in
yeah,
February because the opening half of this entire year was already jam packed with games. It was kind of ridiculous. First,
dude.
because like I said, we had Relink on the first day, then we had Suicide Squad on the second day, and then taking up all of the later half of February, well into March, was Final Fantasy. So,
Mhm.
and for me, my take on this game is that, and I already made a video on why anime games should really look at Grand Blue Fantasy Relink and take as many notes as they can when it comes to an IP that was first known as a gotcha game, then turned into a fighting game, and then turned into a massively successful action RPG, which to date has sold over 1 million copies in less than 2 weeks.
Yep.
Ever since it
Since its
launched,
launch.
it's ever since launch 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks after it launched, it sold over 1 million copies already. So it was already massively successful. And then they gave us just the overarching nature of the game. It was already solid. This was one of those rare instances where the game ran without much issue. The only thing that was kind of an issue was like matchmaking for a time, but we don't really get that problem anymore. So the game is just, just smooth sailing from here on out. But they added different characters to the game. They gave us new quests. They gave us, what was it? Sofan and Tway-In. And they gave us... Did they give us Sofan and Tway-In at the exact same time?
Yeah, they were. It was a double release, and then the last one was Sandalphon, the Supreme
Yeah.
Primarch.
So what they did with the game as a whole, as far as the gameplay is concerned, because that's really what people will come back to, is that they made the gameplay incredibly engaging, incredibly satisfying. Every character feels good to play. Sure, as Gajeel said, there are some characters who feel stronger than others. Charlotta is a definite example of one of the absolute strongest characters in the game. And for a time, it was Charlotta, then Lancelot, and then people really loved Narmaya. And and the thing about this game is that we checked out as many streams as we could of it. When they were creating many showcases for the game, letting us know like, hey, we're getting this, hey, we're getting that. We were up, and we were just watching the streams. We would literally have sessions like we are right now, where we would just watch the stream and just lose our minds over what the characters would be doing. Because first, we would be doing deep dives on who these characters were. Like who Narmaya is, her skills, what type of weapons she has, from Gonda Goza and who he is as a person. He's essentially just Garp in GRANBLUE. And then it came to like the newer characters that we got, like Sofan and Tway-In, who are two characters from this group called the Eternals, the strongest skyfaring crew in all of GRANBLUE. And we found out just how OP they were, and then playing them, we see like, you get it. They get it. They get the whole, hey, these characters are powerful in the lore. Let's allow them to be powerful in the game. That's what makes this game excel so much. Everyone is essentially a powerhouse. The game itself tells you can turn everyone into a powerhouse. There are so many characters for so many different play styles, so many ways that you can upgrade your weapons, customize your weapons in terms of upgrading them and then giving them extra boosts and whatnot, and even going the extra mile of gaining weapons that can ascend and become even stronger than even base game weapons. Like, they're called terminus weapons, which you can only get from one of the harder quests in the game. And pretty much all of the base characters have it, except for the DLC characters, who are, quite frankly, so overpowered that they don't need a terminus weapon. But the uniqueness in how they've customized every single character to feel different from one another. There isn't a single character in this game who you would say is a clone of another, which makes every character feel unique in their own special way. Now, when we get to the DLC characters, that's when Cygame says, okay, we gave you this game's base level of characters. Let's give you some characters who are just straight up busted. Sofan is literally a dude that can call a stand for himself, that can also attack with him. And the dude's DPS, his ability to do DPS damage, especially when he has like his avatar out with him, is quite busted. Especially if you build him right and give him the sigils. We could talk all the time about the sigils and everything else. We'll get to that because there's some things we got to cover for this game as a whole. Tway-In is the debilitator. She has a lot of skills that enhances the damage that she does when it comes to debilitating foes with like status effects and everything. And a lot of their skills are very, very overpowered, with Sofan having one of the most overpowered abilities where you can just straight up give your entire crew a maxed out SBA gauge, which is essentially the bar used for making it so that characters can use their ultimates. Sofon can literally just make everyone charge theirs to maximum instantly. But I think you can only use it once per mission, or is it multiple times? I
Wait,
I
I think it was multiple. No, wait, for the SBA gauge to get
Yeah,
filled?
yeah, for it to be instantly filled to
Oh,
100%. That's like one time,
yeah.
isn't it?
That is a one-time gimmick, but it is so helpful. It is so
Yes, it
helpful.
is. Yo, Holster, good to see you.
The 7-star sovereign is what they call him.
And and then we have Sandalphon, which was the most recent character dropped into the game. He is basically a god. He is the supreme primarch of all the archangels that oversee the very elements of the entire world itself. The dude is beyond a shadow of a doubt one of the most overpowered people in the game. Especially, and one thing that me and Gajeel hoped for was if they gave him his wings. And it is
Beautiful.
flawless. The game. Sandalphon is what you would call a perfect example of an overpowered character. Because mind you, I haven't platinumed GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink yet. I'm still working on it. I haven't touched it in a while because I've been playing a lot of Suicide Squad and Fallout 4 and some other games as well. But I'm gonna get back to it because
Hmm.
there's still so many things for me to do in that game and cover. I got to find all the pincer crabs. I got to find all the chests and go through the game on ultimate mode. But playing through it, was it's a different experience. It's a different experience when you're playing this overpowered character and you're going through the beginning of the game, and it's all like, oh wow, you're basically a god when you're going through this whole. It makes it satisfying. It's incredibly satisfying to play these characters, and these characters are free. Like you don't. The thing that the beauty of it is these types of characters, they're free for you to obtain, and there's so much detail in these characters that and I got to come back to the base game. There is so much detail in this game alone that it's insane that this is a $60 game. This is a $60 game that could have easily been 70. And yet
Yep.
they gave us so much more than what we could have ever hoped for. The gameplay is top notch. The skill trees, which was what kept what it blew my mind. Just how well thought out the skill tree, how the skill tree was for characters and how individual they were. Some characters would get buffs that would enhance their moves to be more debilitating, or certain passives that didn't feel like, oh, this is just good for this one particular character and that's it. You don't have like a shared skill tree for each individual character. Every character in the game has their own individual skill tree, their own individual perks, their own individual passives that just make them fundamentally vastly superior to themselves before you started leveling them. And the beauty of it is satisfying to play all of these characters. All the skills are well thought out. How they mesh with the character and enhance them so that you're even more overpowered. And this isn't like a situation where me and Gajeel, we've played games where you can level up a character, but you would have to choose one aspect of themselves in order to get the most out of them. But here in GRANBLUE, you're not forced to choose whether or not you want to, I want to specify in this, or I want to specify in that. The game tells you, hey, you're going to be able to unlock every single one of these skills. So don't worry. Just don't worry about it. Just as long as you got the mastery points, you'll be able to unlock every single skill that you got here. So wanting to level these characters is inviting and fun. You actually want to play these characters because every single one of them is just so good to play. There isn't a single character that's in this game that I would call bad, because it really just depends on how you build them. But the characters are amazing. The voice acting is very well done in this game, both in English and in Japanese. Gajeel plays in Japanese. I play in English. And I'm listening to everyone, and it's like, okay, all right. I see y'all got some acting chops. They even got Maggie Robertson, who is the voice of Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil Village, to be the big bad of the game. And it's like, oh, she's loving this role. It's really well done. But all these different characters in the game, the setting, the visuals, the animations, the music for this game is absolutely phenomenal. But what really works is for this game, for both me and Gajeel, is the fact of how smooth it is to play when you're with other people. It feels so good to play with another person in this game. It's so much fun to play with your friends in this game, and the game literally, the only thing that you can't play with your friends with in this is just the story mode. But that's not even a gripe, because there's hundreds of missions. There's like a ton of them. I can't remember the exact number of missions, but there are a ton of missions that you can run that are just absolutely a joy to run with friends in. And the beauty of those missions is that there are missions that do different things. You have horde missions. You have survival missions. You have missions where it's just one mission where you can just get tons of money and tons of XP for leveling other characters. There are boss missions. There are boss rushes. There are different... All the bosses you fight in the game can be fought on higher difficulties, and they have different versions where you're fighting two bosses at once. And when they started adding new characters in, they started adding new missions where the hardest mission in the game is fighting Lucilius, who is pretty much one of the most overpowered bosses in the history of GRANBLUE. And though you don't fight the real Lucilius, you fight a simulation version of him. But for a time, Lucilius was wrecking people into the ground. And it took me and Gajeel a hot minute for us to get used to fighting him and then we got to a point where we could actually beat him. And at that point, it was like, okay, so if Lucilius is the most difficult to deal with right now, then yeah, everyone underneath me is no longer a factor. Like, the way that they set the missions up is so fun. It's so fun. And if you want to relax and kill a whole bunch of enemies and see how many you can kill in a certain amount of time, you got that. And let's also address how accessible this game is. It is incredibly accessible. There are so many quality of life things in the game that make farming so much easier. You can find items that you are missing, or find items that you need to get a large surplus of, and the game will tell you, okay, here's all the missions where this thing is. Or you can go to like a trade post, which is Sierra Carte, the character Sierra, and you can trade some items to her. The game gives you options on how to make weapons, how to upgrade sigils, how to upgrade characters. Everything about this game just resonated with both B and Gajeel. And anytime they had a stream going, anytime they had an announcement going, we were there. We were there just waiting with bated breath, like, okay, what y'all got going next? What y'all got going next? And though it may seem like they may not be doing anything more for GRANBLUE, I still remain hopeful, because the game is just far too successful for them to just say, we got Sandalphon, that's it, we're not doing any more. Even though if they were to say, hey, we're not doing any more, leaving it with Sandalphon is by far one of the best things they could have done, because that dude is just such an amazing character to play. But everything about GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink, for me specifically, because I've been very particular about games lately. Me and Gajeel, we ain't got all of our lives to be playing every single game that comes out. And we've come to the realization where after a while we've sort of thinned out the amount of developers and studios that we trust that we will 100% buy games from. That list has greatly dwindled. Let's just be honest here, that list has greatly dwindled over like the last year and a half, and
Yeah.
we've come to the conclusion of like we can't play every single game that comes out. Frankly, the only games that gain our interest are the ones where we are 100% behind the idea of what they're doing. And this was one of those games where it was like, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer. This is going to be, I'm buying the disc physically so I can have it on my bookshelf, so I can tell people this is absolutely phenomenal. But the biggest takeaway from this game is not just everything that they did as a whole, but the impression that they left behind. The impression from this game is that other games should copy what they did. That is how big of an impression they left on me. And for the life of me, I really hope that other studios can look at GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink and go, hey, this is something we can turn into something else. Because me and Gajeel, we brought this up, and he's always said that, hey, a one-piece game done like Relink would be phenomenal. All these missions you're doing. Yeah, I stand with it too. I stand with that statement too. One Piece, if it was done in this style for GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink, it would be phenomenal. You don't need to make a One Piece open world game. Just make a One Piece Relink game. All these different characters, skill trees, and different abilities that you can give them, ways to upgrade their weapons and things. The very foundation of GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink has shown itself to be so malleable, so open-ended that you could insert any sort of IP into its foundation and it would wind up working. You could put One Piece in there and just build around that. Just keep the foundation and just make it around One Piece. You could do it with Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu Kaisen would especially work well due to the missions can be centered around like going after cursed spirits or fighting special grades as bosses and whatnot. And I mean, don't even get me started on the prospect of playing as Gojo and you're doing all of these missions, you're leveling him up, you're making his limitless powers even stronger, curse technique blue and curse technique red, all these different abilities from like Yuji, Nobara, Megumi. You can even unlock Sukuna as a playable character or even the other special grades as well. And then you can, it's just what GRANBLUE did for me mentally has told me, hey, I want more games done this way. I don't know what other games are doing. I'm pretty sure that's nice, well and good and all, but GRANBLUE is what everyone needs to be copying. The same way everyone was copying Breath of the Wild for a nice long time with their games. A lot of people really need to be looking at GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink and copying what they've done and just replicating that multiple times. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be anime or manga. I mean, Marvel can have a game like GRANBLUE, and it's done with that basis, and I think it would do very well. The closest we could get would be like a brand new Marvel Ultimate Alliance game, but it's done with the foundation of GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink. The same can be done for DC, which, let's be honest here, they really do need to stop twiddling their thumbs and start actually. Yeah, am I lying?
We'll get back to that later.
Yeah, we'll get over that. We'll get we'll get to that in a minute. But what GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink has done has shown me that, you know, there's more to the world of games than just turning every single anime IP into a fighting game. Not, Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero, and Bleach Rebirth of Souls notwithstanding, anime fighting games have become so commonplace to the point where I'm like, okay, y'all do realize that fighting games for anime type genres is not the only type of genre that exists. I mean, sure, And y'all hear me say this all the time. I would love to turn every single IP that I'm into a Musou game or an action RPG done like GRANBLUE. If I could do that for every single one of my IPs, I would be all these IPs that I'm into. I'd be happy. I'd be happy because then I can have a game where if I'm watching like season 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen again, then I can just finish watching that and then boot up the game and I can relive those moments and just be like, oh, I want to play as Yuji. I feel like playing Megami today. Oh, I just want to body everybody with Satoru Gojo. So Relink has really set into my mind the potential when people are not stuck on like fighting games being the main thing to go to all the time. That's just my personal opinion. But GRANBLUE is by far one of the best examples of an anime type game done exceedingly well.
It needs an award.
It does. It does. As much
Even if it
success as this thing, as much success as this thing has done for itself, it is, for lack of a better word, one of the best action RPGs I have ever played, period. And I'm 32. I'm 32 and I've played a ton of action RPGs from different companies, from different genres. I've played a ton of action RPGs, but Relink is by far one of the best ones I have ever played in my entire life. And I am grateful to have seen this game and experienced it and played it, waiting for each month so we could play as these new characters, waiting for Sofon and Toyin, messing with them, seeing just look, just it was like teeth. It was like grating. We was all like, can it be next week yet? Can it be next week? Can it be May? Can it be May? Sanofon's coming out in May.
The updates weren't long.
No, they weren't.
Ready. That was one thing I would say. Out of all the DLC, they had no bugs. All the DLC were already ready. It's like, yeah, we did it. We finished it. Be there to you next week.
Yeah, they made sure that these games were incredibly stable so that playing through it released without a hitch and no one had any issues. Now, I've seen people bring up like, oh, they're selling all these different packs and stuff, like for money and stuff. But the thing about it is, one, all the stuff that they're selling to you, you can get in game. And two, the stuff they're selling it to you could easily be sold for more money than what they are actually charging people. So and mind you, I'm a person that doesn't like players to be nickel and dime for them to fully enjoy a game. But this is one of those instances where GRANBLUE is all like, hey, we understand. If you want to earn these characters, fine. If you want to get them, you can. The option's there, but we didn't build the game so that you would be forced to go to the store in order to get like a leg up on everybody else or anything of that nature. It's just an option. It's not mandatory, nor did we build the game that way. So I'm incredibly grateful that they did that. But it just amazes me that this game exists.
Yeah. This is one of the good guns.
This is a game from someone from a studio that has never made a 3D and a 3D action RPG before, and it's by far one of the most successful examples.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. The funny thing is that this game, it did go through I wouldn't say development issues. It was just like because when Platinum Games was making it, there was a little bit of hiatus, and the reason why the game just kept on getting bigger. And I think, and this is just like my 2 cents, because the game is on PS4 and PS5. This is not really, it's a next gen game, but it's also a last gen game. The game just kept on getting bigger. I remember they had a report on why, Platinum Games didn't finish it. And the reason is just like it just kept on getting like more and more better and better, more bigger. What can we add? What can we put into this game? Gotten to the point where the development time kind of exceeded for Platinum. So Platinum and Side Games, they didn't leave on bad terms. All the stuff that Platinum did is currently in GRANBLUE. And then side games just added all the extra stuff. I think what side games did is that they just took the stuff that they did for the mobile game, and I think that's where, like, when they realized, like, "Oh, uh, we can actually transfer this into the 3D realm," so they were like, "Okay, let's do that." So, from visuals, from, the, personal stories, from just in general, like, what you can do with the quest, I think, like, in general, this is a full package game because, like Kushu said, the DLC is free. You don't have to buy it. It's not like, oh, like, cause like the funny thing is there is story expansions in these games. The characters that you even get have their own stories and stuff like that. So, um, and when you think you're even done with the full story, you're not necessarily done with the full story. The game actually kind of forces you, like, no, you gotta do these quests, man. If you want to get the full version of the story, you gotta do these quests. So in a way, you start realizing, like, okay, so, and this is when right now I'm transitioning us to get to like the nitty gritty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is something that we really need to get off our chest because it's kind of annoying. Now for the certain difference of us, we're all anime friends. Me myself and Kushu, we just love anime. We like action, shonen, all that. I like a little bit of rom com. That's only because of my girl. But you know, we haven't really gotten a lot of expansions upon games. Like we got Muso, but it's not like it's not like, oh, we only get like it's really like we only got like One Piece, and then we only had like one Bleach game. That was Bleach. So Resurrection of Souls, and then we had Brave Souls, and then we had like I think it was like Shattered Blade and stuff like that for Bleach. But like Naruto's the same way. We had the Storm series, we had Ninja Revolution, Ninja Clash Revolution. We had the Ultimate Ninja like PSP games and stuff like that. And you know, and this is coming from a person. I'm a fighting game fanatic. Kushu will tell you, I am a fighting game fanatic. I love fighting games, specifically the FGC competitive ones. Arena fighters, I do enjoy. I did enjoy Demon Slayer, Kagura Chronicles. But after a while, the entire community, because this is not just us, it's the entire community. I know there's some back and forth because right now the community is at this point where it's like we don't want arena fighters, but some people brought up like, but every time they do something different, it doesn't do well or it's not good. And here's the thing about this, what I like to say. I'm calling out a little bit on Bandai's part because a part of it is laziness. Because you can say, yeah, we have great arena fighters, but we also have bad ones. One Punch Man is a perfect example. That game in itself should never have existed. And I'm gonna say this on the tangent. One Punch Man is a series where it should not have a fighting game. I'm sorry. That's just my personal opinion. As an
You're
FGC
not
guy, I
wrong.
don't think that would work. Because you have if anybody's kept up with the manga and stuff, he just would not work. He needs to be in his own action adventure RPG or whatever. It needs to be something where he's in an open world or kind of in a hub world where like, he can do what he does because you can't tell me you put Saitama against anybody, they get one shot. And the funny thing about that game is that there is a whole gimmick where if Saitama literally, you have a gimmick where like you try to defeat your opponent before Saitama comes, or if Saitama does get to the arena, then bro, he one shots every single person. The only person he cannot kill is himself. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having a fighting game about One Punch Man. To that sense, I say Bandai needs to really stop with these cash grabs. Now I get it. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is literally the only exception, along with Sparking Zero, because first and foremost, anybody that brings up the fact like, oh, but y'all like Sparking Zero, y'all like Budokai Tenkaichi, brother. We haven't seen Budokai Tenkaichi since I was freaking 10 years old, bro. I am 27. That series has not seen the light of day. It's been almost clearly a decade plus. That's a perfect excuse to have like, okay, we need to bring this series back. And the funny thing is, we didn't have an issue with it. Because you know what? Regardless of it being a fighting game, that game makes you feel like you were literally a god. Like you were literally fighting, blowing up planets, fighting your friends and stuff like that. You had the story mode, you had the what if stuff. You also had like the different scenarios and situations that could happen. You also had like, and if you've been keeping up with Sparking Zero, you also know you have custom battles, so you can make your own story. So when you add stuff like that into a fighting game that's not necessarily competitive, but you add it to a fighting game, of course people are going to buy because it's something different. It's a breath of fresh air, and you're having an entirely huge roster. But when you get the same game like Naruto Storm Connections, which was clearly a cash grab because it was not Storm 5, it was just it was like Naruto Ninja Storm Revolution. It was his own thing, but it had none of the stuff that the people in the community wanted. So that's why that game flopped. Then you have Jujutsu Kaisen Curse Clash. And yes, I know that game is still getting updates, but brother, the game did not sell well. There are people who are asking for refunds, and they were literally saying like, this game is garbage, this game is trash, it does not look good. And it doesn't help the fact that it is a 2v2 game, but you can't kill nobody with your simple hits. Now, if anybody's been keeping up with Jujutsu Kaisen, when you hit somebody with cursed energy, that junk hurts. Even from the statements of Gojo, when people say like, "Oh yeah, when you get hit by Gojo, man, it don't feel right. It feels like he's punching your soul, bro." So, people playing that game, like the gimmick is like, oh, you can only defeat him with curse energy. It's like, okay, you're trying to make it competitive, but it's not appealing. It's not appealing. I barely see anybody really show that game unless it's Globku, which the reason why he only keeps up with it because it's literally his job. He is the anime gaming community leader besides, Afro, Syriax, Rhyme, Lotus Asakura, and many others down the line. But the reason why I say this is because, like, and I'm gonna bring up Bleach too. Bleach is different in itself because Bleach Rebirth of Souls looks more competitive, and it looks really, really well done. The people who are making it, did a really excellent job, and I'm actually, I would say that out of most things, I am actually excited to see what Rebirth of Souls has to like really has in store. I really want to see what the story mode has in store, and I wonder how expensive this whole game gets. I will be purchasing it. It probably won't be necessarily like a day one, maybe like a day 5 or 6, just to see how people feel about it. But the reason for me and Qushu's discrepancy about this situation is because we played other games that we know that could fit in like those like anime IPs that can fit in these genres. I mean, recently we've been playing Shadow of the Erdtree, which was undoubtedly just the best game of all time. And every time I played the game, I kept telling Kusha, I was like, you know what Souls-like game will work if it was developed by Miyazaki and all them guys at From Software? A Bleach game. A Bleach game would work because the way how the enemies move, they do not move like normal Souls bosses. They move like they have been in anime or been in some comic book. They do not move normal. They move like they have freedom. And every time I see somebody play Elden Ring, I keep bringing up the factor of it. Bleach is like a series where, like, in general, if you get hit by these suckers, man, and they do some like big final attacks, it's not like, oh, I'm just gonna keep hitting you with like, oh, like this one attack and stuff like that, and it is what it is. No, these things have situational awareness of the fact of like, hey, if I hit you with this, bro, then this will be applied onto you along with this, and also you can't do this. Like, imagine fighting Ichibe just off a whim. You're fighting Ichibe. Mind you, Ichibe is the guy who can literally take the name from your sword. He can also like do some crazy sealing techniques and stuff like that. Then this man has the hand of Buddha on his side. That man is a walking boss. And we're not even and you got Yuha Ba, who has in general another form, but we're not gonna get into that because I don't know if anybody's read the manga or really if anybody's just anime only, so we're not gonna get into that. But he has another form. and it screams Souls-like. The entire series screams Souls-like. So and the funny thing is, people can't say like, well, we never had a Souls-like anime game. No, yes, we have. We had Code Vein. And it was actually really well done. I actually enjoyed it. But man, if you put Bleach in a world where it's made by like From Software as a Bleach anime Souls-like game, I promise you it would have sold millions. It probably would have broke records. It possibly would have won Game of the Year. I will even say. But no one wants to try it. And I don't know if anybody's really scared to try something new. But man, it's the same thing with like the DC fandom in general. We just want the same thing. We don't want no change. We don't want we don't want no Suicide Squad. We don't want none of this. We don't want none of that. And yes, I understand Suicide Squad is not the perfect game. That's understandable. But brother, I'm gonna say it like this. There is more than one genre. Yes, I know they're doing turn-based. Good for them. Brother, them games suck. Okay? I told Qushu, and this is the last time I'm
Here
gonna
we
harp
go.
on him about it.
Here we go.
Listen,
Here we go.
Don't listen. Because everybody gotta know this story. First of all, when this game, it was One Piece Odyssey. Now y'all know Qushu. He's a One Piece channel, anime channel, but most of his stuff is mainly One Piece. That's his series. That's the thing that that he really is deep into. So we were when One Piece Odyssey came out, my mind was like, no, this is not gonna work. Qushu was like, what? I got to do it, man. It's One Piece, it's based on my channel and stuff like that. And I was like, bro, no, you're not gonna like it. I'm telling you, you're not gonna like it. We went back and forth for a couple of minutes, and then we just dropped it. So he bought the game. Shockingly enough, he bought the game, played it. Now, mind you, I was at work. I was just chilling a little bit, but luckily I was able to catch the stream before he ended it. Brother, when I tell you I heard this man's voice, he felt so defeated. I was like, I told you. Because you go ahead. Explain yourself. Nah, defend yourself right now.
Look. Up until this point, this Joker ain't never let me live it down. Ever since then, he has been very vocal in telling me, I told you so. I told you not to play it. I told you not to get it. I told you not to get it. I told you not to get it. He will not let that go. Now, you said it's going to be the last time. But
the last time. I'm not going to mention no more.
He was right. And I've already told him he was right. Because we've already talked about it. I've already did a whole review on Odyssey. And making a game like One Piece into a turn-based game ain't it. Ain't it. You can't be doing that. You've already shown that you know how to do good musos because Pirate Warriors 4 is one of the most successful musos out there outside of, Age of Calamity?
Yeah, outside of Age of Calamity.
Outside of Age of Calamity on the Switch, Pirate Warriors 4 is one of the most successful musos that exists right now. And that game did not help me to keep the thought of like, oh, I want more musos out of my mind because it did everything right. Bruh, how you gonna give us One Piece Pirate Warriors 4? All of these characters, Kaido, Big Mom, size accurate characters, and they're all majorly busted, then give us DLC. Then you go quiet for 3 years, and then come back and say, hey, we getting you some more stuff. And we're going to end it by giving you the king of the pirates himself, his right-hand man, and the man who chased him. How you going to end it by giving us Roger, Rayleigh, and Garp? And all three of them are busted, with Roger pretty much being the most powerful character in the entire game. As soon as you get like his full force burst going, Triangle will destroy everything. That screams One Piece to me. Not turn-based where you see all these characters and they're just standing there waiting for you to command them. It didn't mesh well with me with Odyssey. It didn't mesh because I'm used to like being in the action. I'm used to like, hey, I got to block. Freedom. Hey, I got to counter. The freedom on how to take on these foes. Can I jump on top of them and then sweep them up in the air with a combo? Can I do this? Can I do that? Me and Gajeel have both come to the realization that the best games that we play are the ones that give us so much freedom to tackle a situation in a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And the Pirate Warrior series from One Piece has pretty much solidified it as a real golden standard of some good Muso action. There are some others, but unfortunately, since the Switch isn't capable of allowing Musos to run smoothly on the system, I can't really add those games to the list. As good as they are, I can't really add some of them to the list simply because, I mean, Musos need to be on consoles that can run them smoothly.
Yes.
Period. We should be past the point where you are putting games on consoles that can't run them fast and then leaving it out from other consoles and being all like, well, it's only on the Switch, so I guess you just got to deal with this little hardware. No. Musos should be made for systems that are properly tailored to handle those sort of games. Anything else is just an excuse. But going back to Odyssey, it was one of those moments where I was like, maybe, I mean, I know I did it because I like One Piece and I wanted to see what the game was about. But Gajeel was right. Gajeel was right. I shouldn't have played it because now all I have of my memory of that game is like all the things that they did wrong versus all the other things that I enjoyed. And it was a sad day. It was a sad day playing that game. So when I got
DLC.
done, yeah, they got DLC, but I didn't care because the game was already gone from my house.
Mm-hmm.
It was already traded over. I already traded it in for something else at that point. So when they said, hey, we're getting DLC, where we actually add in Blackbeard, even though you have a whole mission in Odyssey where you go to the Marineford War, but you don't actually see wait, did I see Blackbeard?
I think so.
I meant to say Whitebeard. I meant to say Whitebeard.
Yeah, you said but you said Blackbeard, yeah.
Yeah. So Whitebeard, his silhouette is in the game, but you don't actually see him, which I felt was incredibly odd given how pivotal he was in the entire Marineford War arc as a whole. And then you add him in later. You add him in later as a DLC character boss that you can fight. And I'm thinking, there is no way you just paywalled an essential character in the Marineford War like that. So that was weird to me. And of course they added I think they added, no, Mihawk was a character you could fight. Yeah, Mihawk was a character you could fight in base game, I think. Because I think we were fighting him in Dressrosa because it was a weird story. It was a weird story. Not saying it was a horrible story, but it was a weird story. How they handled everything. I would say
timelines.
I would say like they were we were going into like old memories of characters. Like we went to Alabasta, then we went to Water 7, then we were dealing with I can't remember. I think they stopped before we even got to.
You didn't get to Wano.
We didn't even get to. No, we didn't even get to Whole Cake Island. We stopped at Dressrosa.
Yeah, that was it. And I think the DLC continued the story, but it was just like I don't know. It was because here's the funny thing about this is the fact that I'm gonna say it like this: you can do any genre for anime, leave turn-based out of it, because no offense, we come from a media that you have to be OP or build yourself to get to that point. And no offense, I know people like turn-based, but bro, it is so limiting and it's so boring. There's only certain few things. Like Persona is the only exception, and maybe Final Fantasy. Maybe. That's a huge maybe, because right now Final Fantasy has evolved from turn-based for a very long time. So when it's those type of games, yes, because there is a certain strategy in how you do it, but there's a certain reward it gets with it. With Odyssey, there's really no reward. Just like Qushu said, I think in one of his streams when he was talking to me, He said certain elements don't necessarily counter the other elements. And it's like the weakness system doesn't really work. It doesn't really apply. So it kind of defeats the purpose for you to make such a system when you could have just made it a regular action RPG and kept it pushing. And I'm saying this because I still don't understand how the heck Fairy Tail 2 it exists. I don't know how. Because no offense, I've never seen anybody play that game. I
I
follow a
was
lot of anime
dangerous.
people.
I was dangerously close to getting Fairy Tail, but it was the fact
No.
that it was turn based, and I was thinking this could have been a Muso. Like, this could have been a Muso
Yeah.
game, or it could have been like an
Yeah.
action RPG of some kind. It could have been anything other than a turn-based game. So, you'll have to imagine my shock when I see that Fairy Tail 2 is getting announced during like one of those the most recent Nintendo Direct.
Shadow
And
release.
and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, so we're getting a Fairy Tail game, and it's supposed to be doing like the ending of the series. Like, I'm pretty sure the ending fight is either going to be with Acnologia or Xerath
Yeah.
himself, and then it's going to be the end, and then it's going to be the end of the game. But I'm just thinking, is this really the type of game that needs to be turn-based? Because then you got yet another Sword Art Online game that's coming out, and that's having like 20 people in like one singular instance, and I'm thinking, this would have been better if it was done like this, or like GRANBLUE. So the weirdness of it all. Halser says, oh, nah, they did not make a Fairy Tail game turn-based. Oh, nah. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Dude, they made a Fairy Tail
F2.
game. I think it was like back in 2018. It was before the 2020s.
I was so excited.
It was before the 2020s.
Yeah.
And I heard of the Fairy Tail game as well, and I was just thinking, please don't let it be turn-based. Please let me be able to fight people on my terms. If anything, let it be like One Piece World Seeker, where I can explore all of this place and then fight all these enemies. Nope, turn-based. And I'm just thinking, well, that just brought my interest all the way down. So to see them go from a game that, frankly, wasn't all that popular to begin with, because people played it, and then I have never heard of anyone touching it ever again. So for them to do that and create a sequel, I'm asking, who asked? Who asked for a Fairy Tail 2? It's crazy how we got all these. It's crazy how we got all of these other games that, are out there, are major and are substantial in what they are. Like, we got Berserk Band of the Hawk. This is the only Berserk Muso game in existence, and it's also one of the goriest, if not the goriest, Muso game out there. Because when you get, like, powered up, if you put, like, Guts in his Berserker armor, you're just seeing limbs fly everywhere. If you're playing as Griffith in his Femto form, you're just destroying everything. There's really just a presence of, like, okay, this is cool. Never really thought that a Berserk game would work well in a Muso game. And then we got Attack on Titan. That works really well. And these are properties that some would see like there's no way that it could work in a Muso form, and yet they're all incredibly successful, especially Attack on Titan 2, coinciding with the anime being out at that time. So I see those games, and then I see other IPs just either being turned into fighting games or being turned into turn-based, and I'm just thinking to myself, is this really the best route to go? Because there's only so many times you can play a fighting game before it gets incredibly monotonous. Like, and I've said this before, I'm not really big on fighting games. I'm just a person that's on the outside looking in. And when I see people fighting these characters, I'm like, okay, you can, the experience you have of playing as these characters for the first time only happens once. It only happens once. So when you play as some of these characters and you're done playing as them, the second experience isn't going to be like, wow, this character just feels fresh and brand new. It's all like, no, you've played them, and now you're just playing them against other people. Sure, you may be put in a situation where you need to adapt, and maybe you need to learn some new moves from a character, some combos you need to learn as well. But at the end of the day, there's only so many times you can play as your favorite character or play as different characters before you're wondering, okay, we're fighting here. What else is there to do? So
Hmm.
I'm at a point right now where if it's an anime game, the only ones that'll interest me are RPGs and Musos now. I don't care if they're fighting. I get tired of I'm tired of arena fighters. I hate seeing anime games being turned into battle royales because it's like, why? How is it we got a newer My Hero Academia game and it's a battle royale? Do you get to play as All Might? Sure do, but it also has a little bit of a gotcha system in that as well in order for you to get these characters. And I'm like, why? Why do you exist? Why are you breathing my air? Why are you here? So I don't know what it's going to take for some of these developers to realize that, hey, try Muso. What happened? Does it really matter if a ginormous amount of people play it? Just make it. I'll play it. I don't care about everybody else. Just make it for me. If you can't make it for like 100,000 people, then just make it for me. I don't mind, and Halser says, I don't mind turn-based like Baldur's Gate because that's very D&D-like, and D&D is turn-based, so I'm used to that, but nah, Fairy Tail should not be turn-based. And then he says, an ideal Fairy Tail game would be one in a style like GRANBLUE or even a style like Xenoverse. That could work. That could work to a certain degree. But I'm at a point right now, and Halster, you've heard it, everyone in my other streams, I've heard it as well whenever it comes up, is that I am no longer interested in any anime game that comes out that is an action RPG or a Muso game. I am no longer interested. Because if you're just making an anime game into a fighting game, it's either one thing. Either you know it's an easier thing to make, and you want to try and make as much money as possible knowing that people will play fighting games, or you lack the creativity to make a Muso game or an action RPG, and creating a fighting game is easier, or you don't have anyone with real vision for what these IPs are for, or what they could be. That's just my opinion. I no longer have any interest in any anime game that comes out unless it's an action RPG or a Muso game. Because those are games that appeal to me, and those are the ones that I feel like they can do a whole bunch of craziness with it. And it makes sense. Because if you're doing a fighting game, everyone has to be nerfed. Everyone has to be nerfed to a certain degree in order to make it an even playing field. And I kind of get tired of games like that where they can make characters as powerful as Satoru Gojo, and you scale it back where someone like Yuji can beat him in a fight. Yes, I know it's a fighting game, but I'm just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of character power stifling for the sake of game balancing. That's just my personal opinion. But that's all I got to say on that. I mean, I know we're getting Sparking Zero, and I know we're getting Rebirth of Souls. I'm pretty sure those are going to be both very entertaining to play and very fun to play. But my main concern is looking at all these different IPs that are out right now and looking at all the games that they could be. We could get ourselves a nice, solid Jujutsu Kaisen action game that isn't a mobile game gacha. We should have gotten a solo leveling console game, but no, they wanted to release a mobile one. But I'm not about to go on that road because this is about GRANBLUE and the influence it's had on my view of games and such. So it's like I'm not gonna get on the soapbox concerning solo leveling in the game. I'm not gonna get on the soapbox because of that. But yeah, that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion, Gajeel, man.
No, that's fine. I mean, it's the same thing we said about all the IPs and stuff like that.
Yeah, because me and Gajeel, we have this talk a lot. We talk about this a lot. It's just here you guys get to hear what most of what we talk about in one of our sessions. And I really, really hope that this upcoming Tokyo Game Show gives us.
Oof.
Yes, dude, I really hope that this upcoming Tokyo Game Show this year gives us a brand new Muso. Aside from like Dynasty Warriors Origins, I feel like we do, in fact, need some more third party Musos, some third party IPs of some kind to, keep the genre fresh and everything. No offense
Mhm.
to Dynasty Warriors. I'm pretty sure it'll be just fine. But I feel like with how successful One Piece was, to the point where you had not one, not two, not three, but four Pirate Warrior games after each other, each one more successful than the last, then it's time for you to do that for Bleach. It's time for you to do that for My Hero Academia. It's time for you to do that for Jujutsu Kaisen. It's time for you to do that for One Punch Man. And not just anime, but different genres as well. There's such a massive opportunity to take these well-known series and turn them into a massively successful Muso blowout. This should be the perfect time to do it, especially with people's opinions on anime at an all-time high and different properties. And not just anime and manga, but also different properties aside from, Japanese stuff. Over in America, like Marvel and DC. There's such a massive surplus of creating a game like that is not being touched on. But GRANBLUE is such a massive influence for me because I would like some Marvel games done like GRANBLUE. I would like some DC games done like GRANBLUE. I want those. But until someone gets into their head that, hey, what we're doing right now, it's not enough. We need to do better. I feel like we may be waiting just a little bit longer.
Yeah,
But
we'll probably have to.
yeah, so while I would very much like to see us get some new stuff told to us during this year's Tokyo Game Show, I'm at the same time not going to hold my breath so that way I don't wind up being disappointed just in case we don't actually get any new anime IPs or, you know, any Musos other than Dynasty Warrior Origins information related.
But I mean, it's the same thing. Like, the guy who created Fairy Tail, his new series, Eden Zero, which is a very, it's not like Fairy Tail, it's Fairy Tail but different. It's super dark, and it does not have the power of friendship, but it does have a game, and it is mobile. Now, it's made by Konami, and I was like, okay, cool. Like, I thought we were getting an open world. It was because the first teaser that came out, it actually looked promising. I was like, oh wow, it looks really nice. And that was the time that me and my girl were actually reading. And we actually gonna probably get back to it, but because we haven't kept up with it, but I was really interested. And then it turned out to be Eden Zero Pocket Galaxy, a mobile game. And look, I told Qushu this too because this is another thing. Right now, as the gaming economy has kind of lost its mind, in a sense of pricing, that's another real reason why me and Qushu haven't really been buying every single, uh, because we're not trying to spend $80 on every single game, especially if these games are a piece of garbage that don't need to be bought. It just it makes it to a point where there might be a time that somebody's gonna probably be really smart and then just say, you know what? Let's make an open world anime game. Let's make an open world J Star and make it free to play and just monetize certain things. And the reason I'm saying this is because right now, the reason the real reason I'm saying is because, like, I've been playing Marvel Rivals, but as much as Marvel Rivals is a competitive game, this is a game that's made out of love, man. Um, I just showed Kushu that they have Herald Thor. For a lot of you don't know, this is a Thor who is also the king of Asgard, who is able to steal the power of Cosmic from Galactus and able to use it as his own. And he had this cool outfit, man. It had like the galaxies over him. He had this cool little headband. He looked dope, man. It was to me, it was one of my man. It probably my number one favorite look of Thor, man. I really liked it. He had that look for a minute. He also had it in the King of Black. So I don't know who drew the King of Black in the very final issues where Thor became Captain Universe. I mean, not Thor, but Venom became Captain Universe. But bro, I applaud you because the way you made those characters look, man, was phenomenal. You made Silver Surfer look like a freaking he made him look cool. But the reason I'm saying this is because like the free to play game spectrum, I know is taking over. But bro, if you gonna do free to play, man, I would love for you just to put it on consoles. And if you're gonna do kind of a mobile gotcha, put it on consoles still, because at the same time, we'll still even give it a try. The problem with solo leveling is not really, I don't think it's necessarily the fact of it being a gotcha, it's the fact that it's not on console. And the fact that it can be on console. You can't say that when we have Genshin on console and on mobile. We have Zenless Zone Zero on console, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna probably be on mobile too. Honkai Star Rail, it's on console. And there's really no excuse. Now, me and Qushu are not really the big fans of Gacha, but if that's what we're gonna get, and we get this expansive world, if it's done like Genshin, we're there. We're there. I'm not gonna lie, we're there. We might not spend as much money, but we're there. We may build up our currency to just pull for a character that we want, but we're there. And if you don't do gacha, you just do a free to play, that's still cool. Because at the same time, we can unlock the characters. Like maybe you did an anime like Warframe type game. Cool. Or like First Descendant, which is kind of like the cousin or baby brother of Warframe. If you do stuff like that, we are here. The money will come by. Somebody's going to break bank. It might be me. It will not definitely be Qushu because he's not going to do that, but he will play the game. It will be other people. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it sells. It really does. Now, I'm not against buying a $70, $80 game if it is worth it. It has to be worth it. It cannot be a lackluster. It cannot be something where like we were trying something new, but it didn't work. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not paying that money for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not downloading on my system because you've shown me that it's not worth it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of anime games sometimes try to do this little gimmicky thing where it's like, hey, it's the same series, it's the favorite series you love, but it doesn't have all the stuff that you guys asked for from the previous game that you worked very hard for. That's the problem with anime games right now. It's the fact that they're making them look cheap. They're being made cheaply. The reason why a lot of people are fighting back for Bleach Rebirth Souls because it's such a back and forth because this is a game that actually looks like it has some quality. The problem is that it's another fighting game that is like, well, why do you guys put so much money on the fighting games, but y'all don't put no money on the other IPs or the other genres? And One Piece Fire Warrior sold. And yes, I'm gonna get into the American aspect of it. We're gonna get to DC because we really need to talk about DC. And I know this is a Grand Blue review, but this is a little bit of a situation we have to kind of really talk about. I don't care what people think about James Gunn. I don't care what y'all think about Zaslav. We can agree to disagree. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't have faith in James Gunn's universe. I don't like his ideas. I think single-handedly this will probably ruin DC for better or for worse. Because no offense, we have only gotten one DC game this year. You can say the whole thing about Ratcatcher. I don't care. That's not a real game. That is a freaking meta quest. I don't call those real games. Those are not real games to me. That's just a walking simulator. You're not really doing much. So we've only currently have Suicide Squad. And yes, I know the back and forth between it. I understand it wasn't that successful. Understandable. I get it. Bro, we need other games. We truthfully do. Not just anime, but for DC. The reason why nobody harps on Marvel is because right now Marvel has Marvel Rival, which is literally was going to probably be an Overwatch killer and Concord killer, and that's doing fine. Marvel has nothing to worry about. They were giving us games where like, hey, you can play this while we work on the other stuff. Thank you. That'll keep me occupied. Hey DC, what you got? we gave you Suicide Squad. Okay, well we're playing that now, but like, are you guys doing anything? Oh, we got Wonder Woman. We haven't seen anything since 2020, even though we had some leaks and that wasn't y'all. So do y'all have something? No. Are you guys working on anything else? There's rumors that you get that Rocksteady's working on another game for Heroes. Cool, cool. What about the other games you guys canceled? Care to elaborate? Oh, it wasn't successful. It wasn't gonna work. That's a load of crap. And it infuriates me because DC should not be losing. If anything, they should be neck and neck with Marvel in terms of TV shows, movies, games. It should always be an equal playing field. Sadly, that's not the case. Zack Snyder happened, destroyed a lot of things. Injustice happened, was really successful. Really did like that series, but it wasn't the stuff that we needed. The Batman series has ended. It's concluded. There's nothing else. Yeah, you can bring back Batman Origins, and that would be cool. I wouldn't mind playing a Batman Origins sequel. I would actually love that. But we need to focus on the other heroes. We need Superman. We need Green Lantern. We need Flash. We need Martian Manhunter. We need Aquaman. We need to do something different. And yes, I'm anticipating Wonder Woman, but at the same time, there's nothing been shown. It's almost been about 3 years, guys, and y'all have not shown anything. So now I'm a little bit worried. What is going on? What's the development like? Now you're here. Now me and Qushu hearing stuff like, well, Monolith went to EA to work on the environment for Black Panther. What do you mean? And me and Qushu are like, they have to have a bigger team. They have to. Because there's no way you announced Wonder Woman, but then your team is going to help out EA with Black Panther. Make it make sense. Either you guys have 2 separate teams, or something's going on with Wonder Woman, and I really feel like it has something to do with James Gunn. That's my hypothetical. That is my theory. That is just my speculation. If it is, Wonder Woman's going to fail. I'm going to say right there, it's going to be dead on arrival. Because right now, James Gunn is trying to connect everything in the universe. And I know people be like, well, he's not going to connect everything in the universe. No, he literally said we are connecting TV shows, movies, and video games. The only gaming series that's not being connected is Arkham, which, thank God, leave that series alone, please. We don't need that to be, messed with. But everything else, bro, I don't want no tie-in superhero games. I don't care about that, bro. I want
that era already.
Yeah, we're done. We're done. We had Arkham. Arkham solidified that for us. Spider-Man solidified that for us. And the funny thing is with Spider-Man, he even brought some stuff from the MCU when it came to his suit, his eyes, and all that stuff. That was it. That was clearly it. That was it. Everything else was purely designed for that game. It was pulled from every avenue. But we do not need a tie-in superhero movie game. No, I don't care. Because now you're not only slowing production, you are limiting the creativity for the developers. You can't say that story matters when you're telling people like we're connecting every single aspect in the universe. Let games be Elseworld. Let them be their own thing. You have tons and tons of comic books. Like, for crying out loud, we're getting a Tim Daly, Justice League Unlimited, brand new comic book series that I'm very excited for, because it's its own separate thing, but it's something that I grew up with. It's something that we all grew up with, so I'm gonna support it. I'm ready for it, and because it's gonna have one of my favorite artists in DC, Dan Mora, in it. So I'm gonna buy that. I'm gonna buy that. That's gonna be my other favorite series I'm gonna buy, because that's a series I grew up with, and that's what I kind of want, man. What if I don't want Barry? What if I just want a Flash game that has Wally? What if I don't want Hal Jordan? What if I don't want Kyron? What if I just want Jonathan Stewart? And I already know Jonathan Stewart is going to be in the main universe, but I don't want a tie-in game with him in it or with Hal Jordan. And now, because at the same time, I don't want to see those ugly suits from Superman in the video game, bro. Because I'm going to tell you this. If there is an alternate suit, trust and believe, I will switch it out. Dude, I'm not. Like, you gave Guy Gardner a toupee, bro. He's blonde. He's supposed to be a redhead, James. Oh, it's Lord Tech. Why? He's a Green Lantern. He doesn't need that. He's the most powerful weapon. Well, it's just they're in the same team, bro. So what? They've been in the same team for years. You have never seen no one put JL on their suits. They're like the X-Men. Everyone had their most unique suits. Yes, I know the X-Men had synchronized suits in certain books. I get it. But brother, in the 90s, that's where the magic happened. Even then, back in the 60s, that's where the magic happened. Not everyone had the same suit. They had the X, but that was it. And it was either on the shoulder pad, on their belt, or their shoulder buckle or something. It was visible. When they had the X, you're like, okay, you're an X-Men, cool, you know. Or like, even the Avengers had they had their own suits, but you knew they were from the Avengers. But why in the world are we in the moment where it's like, oh, we're using lore tech? First of all, why are we having too many villains, bro? This ain't a video game. That's some video game stuff right there, man. Really? If you're gonna do that, put it in the video game, please. I would love to face Maxwell Lord. I would love to face Lex Luthor. I would love to face Doomsday. I would love to face all these different characters in a Justice League game. Which brings the question, why have we not gotten an Ultimate Alliance DC game? Why are we so stuck in this same genre? We need team up games, but man, you could do it differently. You can do a Muso. You could do a DC Rivals. I wouldn't care. I would play it because it's something different. It's a breath of fresh air. Please. Marvel understood, like, yeah, Spider-Man's not the only hero. We can put out other heroes. We're gonna have EA Motive do an Iron Man game. We're gonna have EA do a Black Panther. And what's the other? Yeah, Black Panther, and we're also getting a Black Panther Captain America with Marvel 1943. We're also getting a Venom game supposedly, and many, many more. We're also getting a
Blade as
Blade
well.
game.
Mhm.
Blade, a vampire game, bro. Like by far, he's he's not really obscure. I mean, if you watch Wesley Snipes, okay, come on now. Like, look, we got it. But he's still a very obscure character. Mind you, we already had a Guardians of the Galaxy game, dude. A Guardians of the Galaxy game that was actually very successful, winning awards. Sad enough, it didn't get a sequel, which I'm still mad about. But still, we got that. So you can't say that other characters don't work, man. We got a talking tree and a talking raccoon, man. Like, come on, dude. It's in a game. We need other IPs, or not necessarily IPs, but other superheroes to have their own games. I would not mind if you gave me a Flash game, and in the sequel, or maybe in 2 sequels later, we get a Flash multiverse multiplayer game where you get to play different speedsters. That would be cool. Hey, maybe then maybe we'll get like a big game like DC Online again, where we'll fight in multiverse. Do Crisis on Infinite Earths type beat, something like that. I remember one time I told Qushu I had a very dream game. This was when we were like really, really deep in like speculation and like, really in dreamland, and like, saying like, hey, we want this. I would imagine they did this, because right now, as the technology is, it is possible. It is possible. You can't tell me it's not. We're not limited by technology anymore. We can get a Flash game. We can get a Superman game. You can't tell me that when Marvel Rivals exists, and I'm seeing Iron Man fly around. I'm seeing Spider-Man swing and do all these other crazy stuff in a competitive game. I'm seeing Doctor Strange open up portals, able to reach the portal at the end of the map and able to let people get into the other side. If anybody needs to, please watch Marvel Rivals and just pay attention to the mechanics of what they could push in this game. This is on Unreal Engine 5, by the way. But people are so worried about it, and they're saying like, "Oh, Suicide Squad, it happened. It happened." But you know what? As much as I have some issues with that game, I still think it's a solid game. I still think it's fun. But you know what? I always think about the stuff that they were able to achieve in terms of their traversal and stuff. I applaud them. I love how Mrs. Freeze moves. She moves like freaking Iceman. And I'm waiting for the moment when X-Men comes out with another game of it's just X-Men. Because I already know that if they have Iceman, I promise you his traversal will be crazy. You think Insomniac's traversal is crazy? Oh my goodness, give me Iceman. And I'll be doing some tricks. We already got Insomniac's Wolverine, man. We're waiting for some stuff to be shown from that game. I know there's been some leaks and stuff like that. I don't care. Let them work on it. Let them do what they gotta do. Boom. I've seen some of the leaks. It looks promising. I'm excited. But at the same time, I would, I want DC to be on that type of timing too. Don't just make Wonder Woman, bro. Give us Aquaman. Give us someone else. It can't just be Wonder Woman. Like Warner Brothers has so many gaming companies. They can't just be stuck by that. And it's sad because their Lego game does a better job. How does a Lego game do a better job than your other actual AAA games? So I'm hoping Wonder Woman is a success, because if it's a success, yes. If it's not, we are in deep trouble. We are in serious trouble. I already told Qushu, I'm a Marvel head right now, man. DC has yet to convince me to come back. The only time they've convinced me is because I'm reading Absolute Power. That is it. Which I already got I already got the latest issues. I gotta show those off. But yeah, there's nothing else. There's truthfully nothing else. Man, I've spent 11 hours on Marvel Rivals. I haven't gone back to First Descendant yet because I've been enjoying Marvel Rivals so much. Playing Venom, Magneto, Storm, Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man, Penny Parker, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, Adam Warlock, Star-Lord, Mantis. I mean, freaking Thor, Loki, Hela, all these characters. And they just brung out Thor and Jeff. And by the way, I will kill somebody for Jeff. I would die for Jeff, okay? That's a fantastic land shark, okay? That thing is adorable, okay? That little bruh. I actually started reading up on Jeff. This man is a menace, but he's adorable. He's like literally the mascot for the Avengers. And you know what's also crazy? Even though he's a pet, it opens the room for other animals in the Marvel universe. Like, I forgot the dinosaur's name, but that's the pet for Moon Girl.
Devil
the
dinosaur?
big giant red dinosaur. Say again?
Devil dinosaur.
Yeah, Devil Dinosaur. Can you imagine him in Rivals? His big tail, bro. Listen, him, Cosmo,
running
and
straight
Lockjaw.
through walls since the environments are pretty much destructible.
Yes. Yeah. Literally, yes. Or if you just bring Moon Girl and her ultimate is literally her calling Devil Dinosaur. Or you just bring Lockjaw and Cosmo. Just bring those guys. Matter of fact, bring the Broods. Why are we stopping there? Bring the Broods. Those little xenomorph guys, man. Gosh,
see,
and that's what I'm saying.
This is what me and Gajeel were talking about. The potential for Marvel Rivals to be one of the best, let's say, let's call it a hero shooters out there. I wanted to find the right name. I didn't want to just blatantly call it a hero shooter, but for Marvel Rivals to cement itself as one of the best hero shooters out there and make it far superior to Overwatch, because let's be honest here, Marvel Rivals was just showing stuff before people were even playing it, and we were like, yeah, this game's about to be an issue. Then we started seeing gameplay of individual characters being played, finding out different tech that other characters could do in the game, seeing how destructible it was, how fun it was, how chaotic it was, and how the dev notes for Marvel Rivals was essentially, we want everyone to be strong. We don't have any intentions of nerfing anyone. It's not about, it's how you use the character. Everyone is strong, but it's how you personally use the character that'll make them shine. And the thing I said to Gajeel is that if Marvel Rivals gets to the point where it is so successful in what they're doing, and they just suddenly decide, we have a multiplayer aspect of this game. What if we add PvE? Because Doctor Doom is one of the people that is like one of the overarching villains of pretty much the story as a whole. And the prospect of fighting him and his Doom bots is incredibly high. And I said to Gajeel, if Marvel Rivals ever decided they wanted to do anything PvE related, it would literally mean the end of Overwatch 2. Because Marvel Rivals would give to everyone what everyone wanted from Overwatch 2 for the past 4 years. Because Marvel Rivals is in a place right now where people are playing it like crazy. Evan is playing it. Gajeel's playing it. I'm going to be playing it this week for you guys as well. Possibly I'm going to be playing it on Tuesday because, Monday's going to be busy for me. I'm definitely going to be playing Marvel Rivals. And I told you guys, like I said when I was playing Fallout, this is going to be the first time where I purposefully get into something that is competitive because Marvel Rivals just looks that enticing. I played Overwatch and I did their tutorial, but frankly, I only downloaded Overwatch 2 because I was under the impression, hey, we're going to get PvE. Oh, we had to reshake our vision, so we're not giving you PvE. Well, there's no need for me to have Overwatch on my system, and I haven't put it back on there since. However, Marvel Rivals looks like it's going to be one of those games where when that success hits, it's probably going to be like, okay, what can we do to expand beyond just multiplayer? Because I'm pretty sure people would love PvE. And they got the money. They got the money to do whatever they want to with Marvel Rivals. The characters they can add, the new places they can add, the new gameplay modes, and if they ever add a PvE, I said it, we both agreed, it's going to be over for Overwatch. Ain't nobody going to be playing it. Plus, I also feel like there's far too big of a surplus of hero shooters that are just releasing so quickly around each other. Because we got Marvel Rivals, that is the only exception, that's the only one out of this current list that I'm willing to play. Then we have Concord, which it exists. And
Just to die.
My thing is, it's supposed to be a $40 game, and yet I'm like, okay, so who played Guardians of the Galaxy and wanted to turn it into a hero shooter, as if we don't have enough hero shooters out on the market enough as it is? Like, what is Concord doing that we haven't already seen from Valorant, Overwatch, and basically Apex Legends, basically any other hero shooter that exists out there? What does Concord do? Why? Because it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy, but if it had multiplayer, if it had competitive multiplayer in it. And I'm just wondering, with a game like Concord, which I initially thought was a Star Wars game because the big dude with the blue skin and the red marking on his face, I thought he was just like one of those dudes from Star Wars, like The Force Awakens, that's just chilling in the room. He's like the big guy. I thought that was a Star Wars game, but no, it's just like it's another hero shooter. Does it look nice graphically? Yeah, visually it looks nice. Gameplay-wise, it doesn't do literally anything different than what we've already seen from other hero shooters. So for Marvel Rivals to appeal to me in any way, it's already a big thing. And Gajeel knows. Gajeel knows I'm not big on fighting games. I'll ask him about what's happening in the fighting game community. I'll send him videos of like stuff like from Tekken or Street Fighter or SNK or King of Fighters and stuff like that, because I know that's something he'd be interested in. But for me, when it comes to like hero shooters and stuff, or playing anything competitive, it's not something that Gajeel hears me talk about a whole lot. However, Marvel Rivals has been one that I've talked about immensely whenever we see anything new from it. And he knows. I keep talking about like, yeah, this is going to be the only exception where I play a competitive game because I really need to see what they do. And, audible and visual endorsements from people saying like, oh, this is good. Oh, this is really good. And I'm like, okay, free to play. I might as well give it a try. But I'm incredibly excited to play Marvel Rivals just to see how much fun I can have. And if Gajeel is having fun, since our tastes in games are pretty much kind of similar, then I know for a fact I'm going to have fun as well. But getting back to like what Marvel is doing versus what DC is doing. And I said this to Gajeel because we talked a little bit yesterday. Marvel is not scared to take risks, and I believe you said something about this already. But Marvel is not scared to take risks. And even if the risks fail, it's all like, well, we'll just try again at some other time. Let's just do something else. For DC, I really don't think they're in a spot where they can afford a whole bunch of failures. I really don't think they're in a spot where they can say like, well, let's just make this stuff and make that, and then we'll see how it goes. Oh, this didn't succeed. Oh well, let's move on, because they looked at Suicide Squad, and Suicide Squad wasn't making them millions upon millions instantly. And I brought this up when I was playing Fallout. Normally, if something doesn't work, you don't double down on it and just expect people to just roll over and be like, well, it failed the first time, but maybe the second time's the key. No. Now, I've already said this to you guys. Most of you, if you've been tuning into my streams whenever I play Suicide Squad live, is that I understand the discourse towards Suicide Squad. However, it is not as bad as people make it out to be. It's actually quite fun. I have an immense amount of fun playing this game. But Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League needs to be the last game of its kind from DC for a very, very long time. Like 5 years plus. Easily 5 years plus. But for Zaslav to double down on like, yeah, we're going to really focus on getting some more live service games and mobile games out there. And I'm thinking, you're not making this decision because you can see the potential for like endless growth of games and endless arrays of content. You're seeing how successful other very profitable live service and profitable mobile gacha games are, and you just want to focus on that to make you as much money as possible, and that is the wrong mentality to have. Because that's the only reason why Zaslav and company are doubling down on live service games and mobile games. Not because of what mobile games and live service games can offer, fun-wise, but, their avenues for profitability. And I have even less to say about mobile games because, frankly, who is using their phones as their main source of gaming on a large degree? Like, who's using the phones that they need to make calls or text friends or family or loved ones or anything that requires the battery life to, last a long time? And they're playing a major game on it that is also doubly draining their battery out at the same time. Like, what are you expecting to get out of mobile games? I mean, was not the interaction from BlizzCon when they were talking about Diablo Immortal and everyone's all like, we're here for the next Diablo game. Why are you talking about a game on mobile phones? Do you guys not have phones? We do, but we don't use them for gaming. So for Zaslav to kind of double down on this idea just seems really, really foolish. Extremely foolish, even. So with DC, they really can't afford to be constantly making bad decisions, because it's not going to make them look good. I mean, we got Zaslav, who has absolutely no idea what people who play games want and just assumes that, the shareholders would very much like a live service game because that could be a new way for them to make profit, because we can just sell stuff to people in this live service game. Also, the same for a gacha game. But they can't afford to be making foolish mistakes like this. Yo, Ozzy, it's good to see you. They can't be affording to make They can't. Yeah, I had to. But
No, I was laughing what he said.
Mobile games are a pain in the butt. They drain the heck out of your phone's battery. Sadly, I found that out playing Diablo Immortal. Not worth it. By the way, greetings, fellow peoples. Greetings to you too, Ozzy. It's good to see you. We've been talking about GRANBLUE and why it's one of the greatest examples of what games should stand to achieve in terms of longevity, accessibility, gameplay, and everything that just makes it an excellent game. But getting back to DC, Marvel can afford to make mistakes, especially in the gaming department, because Marvel doesn't release a Marvel game all the time. But when they do, they tend to grab people's attention for a nice long while, because Marvel trusts the people who get handed these IPs to make some substantially awesome games. DC, they do not. Sure, we got Rocksteady, and I still consider them one of the best dev studios out there, even after Suicide Squad. Because if you look at like the animations and what they've done for like animations from the first Batman game all the way to where it is now, and you look at the animations in comparison to Batman Arkham Asylum, and then look at the facial animations to Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Rocksteady is top-notch when it comes to character animations and interactions. They're top-notch still. I don't care what anybody else says. You look at the animations and like cutscenes from Suicide Squad, and it's like, wow, we've really come a long way on how good this looks. But unfortunately, DC, either they truly don't know what they have their hands on, or they are just stupid when it comes to the property that they literally have. You have all of the DC universe, which is a massive universe. It's not just centered on Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, because they are not the only superheroes that exist. You have, and like Gajeel said, you got the Flash, Green Lantern. You got all these different people from the Justice League. You got the Teen Titans. You got the Doom Patrol. You got basically you got the Flash and all these different Flashes. You got different timelines. You got the Bat Who Laughs. You got Darkseid. You got Doomsday. All these different characters that you can incorporate into a game to make these games absolutely amazing. And y'all are doing nothing with it. Marvel is doing something with all these properties that they have. We are getting multiple games. Like he said, like Gajeel said, we got Blade. We're getting Iron Man. We're getting a Captain America / Black Panther. We're getting a solo Black Panther game. And we already got Marvel Rivals on the way. That's 5 I can count off the top of my head right now. And to add another one on there, we got Wolverine. That's 6 different games being made. One that's currently being developed, and it's on its way to going free to play at some point this year. And all the other games are being developed. Marvel trusts their properties in the hands of people who are capable. And while DC trusted Rocksteady with like Suicide Squad, and they went a different way of opposite of what they did with Arkham Asylum, I still think they did a good job, but Rocksteady isn't the only people you can go to. So either DC is like being like penny pinchers, and they're like, okay, we can only have one studio working on one thing at a time. And mind you, Monolith Studios has been so silent with Wonder Woman. So silent with Wonder Woman that this is not the time for DC to be quiet. This is the worst possible time for them to be quiet, especially when they're really banking on this. Because here's the sad thing. They are really banking on James Gunn revitalizing the DC universe and making people be interested in the DC universe again. Heavily. It's maddening how much they're trusting Gunn to be the one savior for their entire IP, to get like a fresh coat of paint, and for people to be as interested as they are in that as they are in Marvel. But I feel like that ship has sailed. You had an opportunity to make people really interested in you. You trusted it to Snyder, who can't write a story to save his life after Watchmen.
Which, in general, Um,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
we're getting a Watchmen animated movie or series, which is just retelling Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
So we're getting an animated series of The Watchmen, which is basically just a chopped up version of the movie, told in episodes.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we're
Why?
getting Creatures Commando, but like at the end of the day, which people get ready because it comes on 2025. Superman will start off the actual universe, which we will get Batmite for whatever reason. They're supposed to
But
tell us the overarching multiverse story of what's on.
but here's the thing that's so confusing with what DC is doing and what they're squandering right now is the fact that they keep moving the goalposts over what's supposed to be starting this brand new DC EU for them. The Flash was supposed to be the start. Literally him running into like a different universe and him going back to his own. It's supposed to jumpstart like a brand new paradoxical universe for where all these other new movies are supposed to be coming from. But the Flash movie tanked, literally one of the worst reviewed and worst grossing DC films of all time. So all of a sudden, now it's no longer the Flash movie that's supposed to be starting this new DCEU. Oh, Aquaman. That's supposed to be the start. Aquaman didn't do as well as the Flash, or didn't do well either. Though it probably did a lot better than the Flash, but it didn't do well enough either. And it's all like, no, it's not that. It's not this movie. So now the new start is going to be the new Superman movie, which, as Gajeel said, is supposed to be including Batmite. Anyone spot a problem with the name of the character alongside Superman? Is anyone spot a particularly glaring issue that doesn't make much sense?
Hmm.
I'll go ahead and tell you. I'll go ahead and tell you what doesn't make sense. Why
Mhm.
is a Superman movie including Batmite when the Batman does not exist in this continuity at the moment? The whole purpose
The
of Batmite
multiverse.
is because he's supposed to be obsessed with Batman and he's like a big major fan of Batman that patterns himself off of Batman. Why is he existing before we even get a Batman in this brand new animated universe? In this brand new universe, not animated, but in this
You,
brand new universe.
who's the other one? Who's the other little guy? It's Superman's counterpart. It's
Mr. Mixius
Mr.
Pitalik would have made more
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, which he is Batman's strong. He's powerful. He's multiversal, but he's not. He's supposed to be in Gotham. Okay,
He's
like
Batman related. That's what I'm that's what we're saying. He's Batman related. He's not Superman related. I don't even think Batman even met Superman before. Am I wrong? You're far more
um,
knowledgeable on comics than I am.
no, he's met him. He's seen him, but
But
He's usually with Mister Homeboy and good. They like in the world's finest, which is kind of like the pre-52 Superman and Batman, but it's like a new series. They have Batmite and Mr. I can't pronounce it, but Mister
just say you
what
can
is
just say Mixius
yeah
Mix
yeah
Mr. Mixie.
Mr. Mixie. They have them there. They're together, and they're just messing with them because it's like, oh, the all's together. Oh, cool. He's like, hey, Mixie, what's up, bro? It's like, yeah, what's up, Mike? So like that makes sense, but usually, they're not really. They're only there to bother the ones that they are obsessed with. Like even Nightwing has his. He has a Nightmite. Like he has his very own little pocket dimensional multiversal little fanboy. So that's the only thing. But the thing with Mr. Mixie is that he actually is kind of a villain to Superman. He gets on Superman's nerves. Batmite's like more like a fanboy, like an annoying little brother. Nothing really overarching, but Mr. Mixie would make more sense because he could really tell us what's really going on. And I would actually listen because it's like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. He would kind of know what's going on. But we don't know. We don't know why, and and if Batmite is there, then I better see a cameo of Gotham's Knight. Like I better see him. I better see that man on top of a roof glaring at Superman, being like pathetic, and then he just zips away. I want him to meme mug Clark. Okay, I want him to do that. If he's not there, then don't bring Batmite into no situation. That doesn't make any sense. He's just adding stuff because it's like, oh, look at this, look at that, look at that. Oh, I brought that character. You like that character.
A
I'm just gonna
lot
tell you
of
right now.
dangling, jingling keys in front of your face. A
Yeah,
lot
like a
of
kid.
that.
You like you're a baby. Come here. It's like, bro, what? Like, dude, we get it, man. You're adding these different characters, but it doesn't seem like a Superman. I'm about to say Superman game. That's how you know I want one so bad. Uh, you're adding all these characters for a Superman film, but it doesn't feel like a Superman film. It feels like a Justice League or just Society or just in general a DC universe. Where I'm like, hey, what's stopping you from adding Wonder Woman and just add the entire Justice League, bro? Well, this is what you should have done. You should have just added Batman and Wonder Woman and kept it pushing. But you
See,
wanted to be different.
here's the thing, though. He's not being different, though. He's being the exact same as Snyder. No one wants to admit it, but he's doing the same thing that Snyder did. Snyder included too many people in one movie and didn't give us time to marinate. I said this before. Marvel worked because it gave us time to process these characters. Months, years even, to process these different characters who were introduced, and then they culminated in one movie where they were all together, but you were used to them because you saw them beforehand in different properties. Here, it's supposed to be Superman's brand newest debut movie in a brand new universe, and you're getting Maxwell Lord, you're getting Hawkgirl, you're getting Mr. Terrific, you're getting Guy Gardner, you're getting all of these individuals, getting Lex Luthor, you're getting
Ultraman.
Ultraman.
You're getting the
Engineer, supposedly Bizarro as well, and I'm just thinking there are way too many names being stated here that are supposed to be some of the bigger names for this movie, and it just comes off as too much. It just comes off as like, why are we getting so much at first? What is this building towards? What is this? What is this whole universe building towards? Because the universe of Marvel built towards Thanos. For the first 10 years, it was Thanos. And at that point, Thanos was the height of like how to write a overarching narrative for a long series of films very well. And after that, it kind of became like really, 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 really shaky after that. So who knows what's going to happen with Marvel now, especially with, Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
Returning as Doctor Doom. So that's a conversation in and of itself. I don't know how to feel about that. But I did say that look, I said this is either going to be absolutely incredible or one of the absolute worst things to ever happen to in the history of the MCU. That's what I said. There is no in between. There's no gray area for this. It's either going to be very good or it's going to absolutely suck.
He better be menacing.
But Marvel, they got their stuff together where it could make sense and people would engage with the universe. But DC, they tried to rush. They tried to rush it so quickly. Oh, we need to get our Justice League right now. Did you build up to it?
No.
We'll build up to it in this 2-hour movie. I'm sorry, the Snyder Cut is 3-4 hours long, and I'm thinking you really didn't do too much in the Snyder Cut that would make me feel like this is a more complete movie.
The only thing you did was give Cyborg a story.
You gave him a story, you changed up music so it was basically ripped from The Watchmen as well, and you made some things even worse than the Joss Whedon version. Like, whose idea was it to allow Wonder Woman to have those women vocalizing in the background every single time she was on screen? No, stop that. Who gave you permission? Who gave you permission to do all that? No, stop that.
All is
So
trash.
now, so so now it's like they're trying to do the same stuff again, but now they're trying to establish these characters already in their universe. And I get it. Some people are tired of seeing origin stories all over again, but we're also not trying to see these superhero films that are packed from the get-go and it's so much information to process, and then it's all like, oh, I gotta watch that movie again to understand everything that's going on. Who's this character? Who's that character? Who's that? Who's this? Who's this? Who's that?
Oh, I don't do that. It's one and done for me.
Look, if I like the movie, I'll watch it twice. If I
Okay,
don't,
yeah, that's true.
if I like the movie, I'll watch it twice.
Yeah.
But if I don't, I'll watch it once and I'll never watch it again.
Hmm.
And I don't know what they're doing with DC, but anything they're doing movie wise and TV show wise, it is not. It's not building confidence at all.
Same thing.
We've seen. Go ahead.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
they're doing the
Batman,
literal same
Superman.
thing. They're doing the literal same thing they did back during Snyder's time, where they're trying to rush everything all at once. Oh, let's just have these characters interact immediately, and then just stuff as many characters as we can in this one instance.
And it's
And
not like
I'm
a Super Friends scenario where
no,
it's like, oh, hey man, it's like, hey, I would learn about you. It's not like a Tim Daly, Tim Burton scenario. Which even then, the Tim Burton universe, they actually built towards it. We didn't see Superman and Batman interact for years. They were like, okay, now they're in the same universe. Okay, cool.
so the lineup for all these movies and TV shows we're supposed to be getting, I hear a whole bunch of different DC character names, but not a
Hmm.
single one of them is making me go like, "Ooh, I can't wait to see that," because I haven't said that about a single one of these movies from DC at all. They already rubbed me the wrong way with their first run with Zack Snyder, and it just felt like we could have had something. We could have had something major. We could have had something great, but you squandered it. And now y'all are trying to do it again and leaving it in the hands of someone who's very quick to say, like, every single one of these movies are fantastic. And then these movies release and they're trash. And I'm like, were we watching the same movie?
Clearly not, because he was high.
He had to have been if he thought The Flash was fantastic.
That was
Nah, but we're going off on a tangent with DC and Marvel and all this stuff, and it's like when I look at games, when I look at games, on the American side, I really wish a lot of them would try to go the route that like games in Japan do. You know, being unapologetic and just being some of the best experiences you could ever have. Like Rebirth was fantastic. GRANBLUE was absolutely fantastic. And to this day, I said this before, I would very much love for more games to do what GRANBLUE has done.
Mm.
I would very much love for more games to do it. Marvel and DC included. You want to get people interested in DC again? Do a game like GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink, or make a Muso game. I double dog dare you. Do that, and I'm pretty sure people will like, oh, I get to play as Superman against an entire army? Ooh, this ought to be cool, because it's never been done.
Watch
It's
Marvel.
never been done.
Marvel gonna do it first. I'm telling you, they gonna do it first. Watch
Of course they are, because
Watch.
they are inventive. They're creative. They trust that people would love to play more of their stuff. They do.
Mind
have.
you- Go ahead.
And I was just saying they have complete faith in people who are making their games that is going to be a success. And so far, we've been having a lot of hits when it comes to Marvel stuff. We had Marvel's Midnight Suns, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel's Spider-Man 1 and 2, and Miles Morales. We're getting Marvel Rivals, which is already looking great as a hero shooter, so anyone who likes Overwatch will definitely like Rivals. And we got all of these different 5 other games that are currently in development because Marvel says like, yeah, You want to make a game based on this character? By all means, go ahead. If you need any help, just let us know. Because I know Marvel is going to let people who know what they're doing give us some actual good stuff. But that can't be said for DC.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's DC ain't doing nothing, but I'm gonna call it right here. For the next game that they might do is gonna probably be Muso, and it's not even gonna be the full Marvel universe. You know what's gonna be? It's probably gonna be something martial art. They're gonna probably do some Defenders, maybe a little bit of Iron, maybe a little bit of Daredevil, maybe a little bit of Luke Cage, maybe a little Jessica Jones. Mm, maybe, maybe. I don't know. They seem to not be afraid of anything. Cause why wouldn't they be? Shoot, let them do arcade. Let them bring arcade X Men. Okay, let them bring the beat 'em up. Okay, all right, beat 'em up's coming back all of a sudden. Me and
Yeah.
Qushu, we're seeing all these twin dragons and
Power
Rangers.
Rangers.
I'm like, okay, all right, y'all. And then Marvel's like, you know what? Let's just give you the MVC collection. Okay, and you're missing one more game, Marvel. If you just do it. If you just do it and you add more X-Men characters. Oh yeah, we got ourselves something here. Okay. All right. DC, they haven't done it yet. They haven't done it yet. I'm just so shocked. I don't understand. And the funny thing is we're not necessarily trying to get on DC's case, but it's mostly Warner Brothers. That's the real problem. It's them. Warner Brothers has I don't know what's wrong with them. I really do not get it. I don't know if it's Zaslav's brain that's not really, because from what we heard from Zaslav, this is before the merge happened. We heard like he's a guy that will, like, if something's successful, he'll make a game, he'll make a spin-off on it, he'll make it even more successful. He'll like branch off with it. And if that is the case, which I understand, the merge was a whole damage control. Things happened, stuff fell out, some stuff failed, some stuff didn't work out. I understand mergers are not usually a good thing because that means companies might shut down. Things, as we are saying this, we're seeing as of late, gaming companies are getting shut down left and right, like it's crazy. And now we're dealing with this strike. We're dealing with a strike in gaming, the gaming world. Cool. I don't know what it's gonna really do. Hey, that's their thing. Whatever. Look, at the end of the day, you're a boss of a multi-million-dollar company. Your biggest cash right now is your DC characters. If you do not capitalize on this right now, which you guys had a chance because at the time Marvel was falling apart. And now it seems like they're going back to their old ways again. Thank you, Deadpool and Wolverine. Also, Deadpool Wolverine broke the box office in the weekend. It is now reaching 432.9 million.
I still gotta watch that movie. I gotta figure out a day for me and my dad to go.
It's the 8th highest grossing R-rated film in the world.
Deadpool
and Wolverine.
Deadpool and Wolverine is now the highest grossing rated R film in the world. That's crazy.
Yep. Thank you, Ryan.
Made me boot up Ultimate Alliance 3 just so I can play as Wolverine.
I'm about to go back to Rivals after this. You think I'm joking? I was like, look, I'm just saying, like, DC is not like, and Hollister will answer your question, but DC doesn't understand, bro. Like, now that the whole Kane situation has been settled, and now we are going back to kind of like, okay, we're bringing Doom. So I'm hoping, since Doom is coming, we're getting Rob Downey Jr. and I'm praying he does a phenomenal job. And we're getting Secret Wars, which also is something dealing with Doom, depending on which version we're getting in Secret Wars, if we're getting the old school version or the new school version. I'm pretty sure we're getting the new school version, which is like during the 2010s. Oh yeah. Marvel's coming back. And then we got Captain America Brave New World, which looks really, really good from that first teaser. It looks like it doesn't have all that mess that Marvel's trying to push. So yeah, I'm glad that Deadpool and Wolverine's being successful because it's literally what we asked for. And Marvel's waking up again. So you guys had your chance. You guys had your window. But I'm gonna say this right now: 2025 ain't gonna be your year, James Gunn, and unless you capitalize really heavily, because I'm gonna be real with you, ain't nobody impressed about Creatures Commandos, because you know what, bro? Why in the world are you showing off the overarching DC, like, like how Marvel did with Thanos? Why are you showing it in an anime TV show with a task force that no one cares about? No one cares about that, man. Nobody cares about Creatures Commandos. I bet you right now that which I think Marvel will actually do because they're kind of petty. Oh, you got your little Creatures Commandos? Oh, that's cute. Spider-Man 98. Oh, you got your other little animated show? Oh, that's crazy. X-Men 97 season 2. Iron Man 90s coming back. Another Avengers series like Earth Mightiest Hero. The list can go on. And it can get worse. So you can do your little Cape Crusader. You can do your My Adventure. Those are cute. Brother, they ain't your only characters. Okay? They ain't your only characters. And I don't care what Cape Crusader is because you've completely ruined it for me because now Penguin's a woman. Oswald Cobblepot is a woman. Why? Why, DC? And this is the problem we're talking about. This is the exact reason why you're failing because you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Why? We didn't ask for that. Oh, it was the original design. No, it wasn't. Harley Quinn situation. Yes, that was the original design that Tim Burton wanted to do because he created Harley Quinn. So we were fine with that. That was cool. She still looks cute. She still looks maniacal. She still looks crazy. Cool. Will we see Joker? I don't know. But changing Oswald Cobblepot to a woman? Really? Why? Just why?
They want to be different.
For what, man? It's a Batman show. You don't have to be different. Just give us Batman. Oh, God. Ever since, rest in peace, Kevin. But, man, ever since that man passed, y'all have been going crazy. It's no wonder none of the old school cast has come back, really. They're like, we're sick of y'all. They probably sick of y'all. I bet you that most of them probably go to Marvel and work for them. You guys keep doing this, man. And then you're like, oh, well, we're using live action actors to voice our animated version of these characters. Why? Separate
Just 'cause you're
it.
a good actor doesn't mean you're a good voice actor. Those are two distinct things.
And I heard Viola Davis, and I'm not judging Viola Davis as an actor. She's phenomenal. She's one of my favorites. You already have an animated. You already have an animated Amanda Waller that's voicing Amanda in My Adventures with Superman. Just get her on this one. I'm pretty sure she'll like the work.
But I keep bringing this up. This is where DC is failing in terms of making this brand new universe make sense. You're trying to get every single person that portrays one particular character to continue portraying that character across all media that is going to have that character in it. As if this person is going to have all the time in the world to be able to voice these characters. For instance, you have Viola Davis, who continues to be Amanda Waller across all these different things. And then you need her to be in an animated TV show. And then you need her to be in a video game. And let's hope the video game doesn't have like an increasing amount of content that requires that Viola Davis be there all the time. And then you have to think about not just her, but literally every other person that is going to be introduced in the DCEU is expected to portray that character across all media. All of them. Burnout. That's what I'm saying. And the thing that really gets me about this is that they really want you to be invested in the DCEU the same amount of time that many of us have been invested in the MCU. Mind you, just the first half of the MCU took 10 years to do. That is a full decade. I am not dedicating another decade of my life to another comic book live action universe or comic book universe in terms of movies, TV shows, and video games and such. I'm not dedicating because I'm going to be, if I were to dedicate 10 years of my life to this brand new, hey kitty, good to see you.
Hey, kitty.
If I was going to dedicate another 10 years of my life to a whole new universe for animated shows and movies and stuff, I would be 42. 42 years old.
I'll be 37. With kids.
Seems you came in on a rant. Yes, you did. We are talking. So we've already pretty much said everything we really wanted to say about GRANBLUE, and we're pretty much talking about some other things right now. GRANBLUE, long story short, fantastic, done right in every possible way, and more games should replicate it. Not only on the Japanese side of things, such as anime and manga and such, but also on the American side of things, such as their comics with Marvel and DC. There are so many things that GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink Foundation can do very well for video games. But now we're talking about DC and why everything that they're doing right now, as far as like this brand new universe that Gunn is trying to make, it makes little sense. And the fact that they really want you to be invested in this for however many years they continue to do this is ludicrous, because not everyone has that amount of time. Like, people got kids. People got work.
Yeah.
People have lives. It's not like, oh, the next Superman movie that comes out, oh, great, I can't wait to see that. But
let's go.
No, let's not. Let's not. Because that means we're going to have to, in order for us to get everything that's going on with the DCEU, we need to intake everything that they do. Not just movies, not just regular live action shows, not just animated shows or movies, but video games as well, because they're all trying to interlock into one another. So not only will the people who are involved with these TV shows and everything gonna be suffering burnout because they gotta be there for every single one of these instances, we want everyone to portray the same character. Do you not know what you're saying, Gunn? Do you not know what you're saying? You don't want these people to rest? The amount of resting they could possibly get outside of playing this particular character in live action, you want them to come back to another whole studio that could be in a possibly different location, and you want them to portray that character and then move from that same character to like video games and voice on there with that same level of energy you have in them from live action, and you want to do it for everything that you do.
Oh, yes. Now,
you crazy. No, you crazy. No. We don't have that kind of time.
Well, you better find it.
No, I have better things to do.
That's too bad. Anyways.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Don't you even.
Anyways, sign right here, man. All right? You know you're going to go see Superman. Okay, Qushu, come on. Let's just.
What did we just talk about? No.
We are.
Look.
No, we're not.
Look. No, we're not.
Bootleg.
We are not.
Bootleg. Bootleg, okay?
Did that one person walk up in front of the screen?
Yeah, I don't care. You know what? At that point, I don't even. The audio's choppy. I can still hear it.
Got that one highlighted section of the corner of the screen.
It's fine. That's perfect quality.
Here's the thing. The trailer for Superman has to be good, because if that trailer is not good, if it doesn't feel like Superman, and this is supposed to be the movie that's supposed to officially, because the last two officiallys you said both flopped. This is supposed to be the official start of the new DCEU. If that trailer is not top notch from the get-go, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no, just let it die. But we have a genuine question from Hollister. Let me just read it out real quick because he's asking. Where is it at?
Scroll up just a little bit.
I actually wanted to ask you and Gajeel about what are your thoughts on the Batman Who Laughs? I quite like the concept in the comics he's involved in. I like him. I thought it was a really cool concept. I think death metal and Batman metal was really cool concept. Definitely like hardcore, very dark. And seeing all the different Batman in different universes, like the one I was fused with Flash, I thought he was like one of my favorites. Then there was the one that killed Wonder Woman. He was more like the God of War. But the Batman Who Laughs was such a serious problem. He was such a serious problem that in the event of metal, because that was something that like kind of spawned in the continuity of the main universe, they had to get Superboy Prime to stop him. And if you don't know who Superboy Prime is, let's just say that this man is able to almost nearly destroy the entire universe. He was able also to hurt the Anti-Monitor. And he sunned every single Green Lantern in Oa. He also was a Yellow Lantern. The only person that was able to stop him was a Flash. And the fun thing is they couldn't even kill him. They had to seal him away. You know you're a problem if we can't kill you. We have to seal you away. So they had to let him out and do a one punch. Because mind you, this Superboy has the ability to break reality just off a win. That's just his natural thing. He just does that on a regular Tuesday. And the Batman Who Laughs was able to control almost all the multiverses. He actually was trying to destroy all of life in the multiverse and consume it. So yeah, I like the Batman Who Laughs. I think he's a really cool protagonist. I would love to see him in a game. I think if
Hmm.
DC does a Ultimate Alliance, I would love him in it. Oh my goodness. And for him to be playable, please. Um, but yeah, I would love to see him in there. Qushu, what is your thoughts?
So, I already came up with an idea for the Bat Who Laughs in a video game. They could because really the closest thing that comes to mind with the Bat Who Laughs as a big bad, is unfortunately in the DC mobile game called Justice League. I think it's like DC Heroes Dark Ages or something. I forget what it is, but it's a mobile game though. So you
Oh
already lost me
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Ugh,
You already lost me there.
we're
But
done.
as far as other games are concerned, I came up with a concept for like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance type game for DC, but the Bat Who Laughs is like the overarching big bad. And he's like reaching into different timelines because at a certain point he became, multiversal, where he was capable of altering reality to his whim, basically. And I figure a game like that where you can get, people from different sides of DC, not just like the heroes, but villains as well. I mean, who wouldn't want a playable Joker? Who wouldn't want like a playable Doomsday or Darkseid or Reverse Flash or all of these different very prevalent villain characters as they, fight against the Bat Who Laughs? And of course, it can end in the way that you said, where they can't kill him, but they just seal him away, and then he's all like, "Oh, I'll get all of you next time," and he's just laughing to himself while he's being sealed away in this different dimension or whatever that he can't get out of. But you could do it like that. You could do it like that. So it would be cool if they did something like that. But unfortunately, DC is not exactly very, very creative or inventive when it comes to their different games outside of like Suicide Squad and hopefully Wonder Woman as well. So that's the reason why my opinion on them has been kind of lackluster for the most part. So while it would be interesting to see something like that happen, there's no one in WB or who's working in DC that has the wherewithal of being like, hey, we could turn this into a game or something. So yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Well, the second question was more of a joke, but it was talking about James Gunn. But yeah, yeah. You know, if y'all trust James Gunn, have at it. be cautiously. Have at it. I don't trust him just because he did Guardians does not mean that he is the savior of DC. Okay? Right now, DC trying to figure itself out in comic books and in all sorts of media. Right now, I would tell people, right now, let's just leave DC alone. Let's just let them figure themselves out because right now they are trying to get us handle things. Right now, what I would call this is a PR stunt, a safe switch, if you will. Um, a kind of a way of like we need to manage this and sort of narrow down and focus on the issues that we need to rectify. Can James Gunn do it? He can possibly do it. Yes, I'm not saying that. I'm not necessarily truly doubting his skills. I think he is a great director, but at the same time, this is a man that has a lot on his plate. You can't just sit there and direct movies and then try to manage an entire universe by yourself. Which I thought was really smart that they have Peter, which is the other guy who is another CEO, but we don't really see Peter. And I think that's why Peter's kind of more behind the scenes kind of guy. But at the same time, we did get a new DC logo. It looked good, cool, nice, but that's it. I mean, what else do you have to show for it? I mean, I still don't care about Creatures Commandos. And yes, you're going to do a Green Lantern show from Max. Excellent. Nice. Cool. It's going to have Hal Jordan and Jonathan Stewart. Nice. I'm happy for that. But Kitty was telling us about Mufasa, and I'm going to tell you something about this, Kitty. All right? I'm going to tell you about this. Listen, no one in their right mind asked for a Mufasa origin story. No one. Okay? No one in their right mind. I don't know why Disney's doing it. I like Mufasa. I think Mufasa is a great character when he's in The Lion King,
The
not an origin
cartoon
story,
one.
the cartoon one. Qushu doesn't like the live action. I kind of do. I kind of do. I kind of do. But yes, the original is always the best. It makes me cry. Um, Though we don't need, and that's the thing, man. Disney needs to stop with this live action stuff, man. It's not hitting it no more, right? Ever since Descendants has come out, now everybody needs to get their own little shtick. I'm like, yo, Mufasa's dead, okay? His arc is gone. We know what happens to him in the end. Why do we need to know the origin? There's like going to Lady and the Tramp, but you need to know what the Tramp's origin and the lady's origin. No, we're done. Which, by the way, if you've seen the live action Lady and the Tramp, it's actually really but yeah, we don't care about Mufasa or live action little baby cub Mufasa. We don't care about. So I wish Disney would stop, please. Okay, we're done. All right,
No,
we're
it
focusing
just
either on Marvel. Say it
see
again.
for me when I saw that I watched the trailer. I watched the
Oh,
trailer
you're wow.
for hmm?
You watched it? Oh my gosh.
I watched the trailer for Mufasa and I felt absolutely nothing. Um it is insane how you can take a beloved movie such as The Lion King and then create a CGI because it's not live action. There's nothing about the movie itself that's actually live action. It's all computer generated. They try to say like it's live action because we're using cameras in a way that you would in the actual Safari, but no, you're not. But this Mufasa movie, I once again reiterate what you said. Who asked for this? No one asked for a live action Mufasa movie and finding out his origins was never something that was important to anyone who was actually watching The Lion King. We knew he was the king, and that was it. There's nothing more that we needed from that. Oh, we need to find out before he was king.
Why?
Hold on one quick second.
Okay. I felt disgust. I didn't even watch the trailer, guys. I'm just saying. I didn't watch it. But yeah, we don't need it. I wish Disney would just focus on the animations like Pixar. I heard Inside Out 2 was really good. Did anybody watch Inside Out 2? I heard that was a really good movie. But hmm, Mufasa origin story.
All right, I'm back. Okay.
Twisters was good.
Yeah, getting back to Mufasa, real quick, getting back to Mufasa. We don't need an origin story for the Lion King. Mufasa was at his best when he was already king. And the first thing they did from the trailer was saying, like, born, he wasn't even a noble at birth. And I'm like, okay, so now you're trying to change up how he became king in the first place? Because if he wasn't a noble, if he wasn't born into nobility, at birth, what? How did he become king? Was it given to him? How did he
fight?
I don't know, because it shows these lions living in the mountains, in the snowy mountains. And I'm like, how do you go from snowy
From Africa?
Dude, I'm wondering, which snowy mountains did these lions live in Africa before they made their way all the way to Pride Rock? In the savannah.
Lion, then. He's a mountain lion. That doesn't make no sense.
He think he a snow leopard. He think he a snow leopard up in the snow, up in the mountains. He's up in the Appalachian Mountains for some odd reason, and then he crosses all the way into Africa for some reason. So there's that. Then I hear that Timon and Pumbaa are supposed to be in the movie too.
Well, why? They're not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why are Timon and Pumbaa
what is going on? Just
in the same movie as Mufasa's origin
story? They don't even know him.
How old are these jokers?
Man, they some long life jokers, man. That's crazy, right? Y'all got that good whatever, man. Squishy, slimy bugs, man. That must be the forte. Cause ain't no way, man. Ain't no way. Cause like yeah, they're older than Simba, but like they weren't that old. Like that doesn't make any sense.
It does.
You might as well just call it Simba. Just call it Simba. What are we calling Mufasa? Just call it Simba.
Because they want you to go through Mufasa's origin story. And I can tell you right now, and I keep telling people this, Disney is on a real kick to try and make every villain that shows up in their movies redeemable or sympathetic. Instead of just making them...
redeemable.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, they're going to set Scar up to where it's like he's been unjustly prosecuted. And that's the reason why he feels the way he does. They're going to do it. They're going to do it because Disney
feels unjustly prosecuted, so he kills his brother and throws him off a cliff.
Yes, that sounds like something that Disney would do. Because they don't want to make villains that are just evil for the sake of being evil, or want plans of killing other individuals for the sake of like furthering their goals. They need to give a justifiable reason as to why they are evil.
Which, I mean, hey, give a reason, but it don't matter. Like he killed his brother in cold blood.
I mean, for Disney, they love making it so that the villains are sympathetic. So you be like, oh yeah, I understand.
80s ain't sympathetic.
Think about it. They did it for Cruella. You know, the woman that is addicted to furs and has no problem killing animals in order to turn them into fur coats. They made a live-action movie for Cruella. And now
with Emma Stone.
With Emma Stone, and they want you to feel sympathetic to Cruella because they want to make everyone else even worse than her. So it would be like, oh, well, Cruella isn't that bad. And I'm like, bruh, she grows up to kill animals on the regular to make clothes, even if they're endangered. What are y'all on about? This is a Disney villain.
Honestly, this all started with Maleficent.
Yeah, it started with Maleficent.
Which wasn't bad. I will say that. It wasn't bad. Maleficent wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I liked those films, okay? Those films had story, okay? It had an actual reason, okay? Because, you know, nobody just becomes evil. She was actually she was hardened, but she had a soul. Okay, she had a soul. But yeah, man, there's too many politics in Disney, man. Good night, bro.
Kitty, CDez is talking about CDs is talking about the Mufasa movie. Don't worry, he's not talking about Inside Out. Inside Out is actually good. But CDs is saying like, nah, that movie is already trash based on what y'all are saying. Yeah. It's Mufasa that we're talking about. Everything else is fine.
We do not need politics, Disney. Okay, we just need films. I don't care about the politics of the world. I'm trying to escape. Okay, just give me a moment. I'm giving you 2 hours of my life, or at least an hour, 30 minutes. The only time that politics should be involved is when I'm watching a Captain America film. Okay, because
That's the
America.
only
All
time
right.
it really. That's the only time it really makes sense. But I'm not trying to
Yeah,
look for it in other media's.
I'm not looking for
I'm
it
trying.
in
I'm trying to.
Beast
I'm
or
trying to get that escapism from that.
yeah, yeah. The only time that some real life stuff happened was in Up, and that junk tore me up. Okay, that was the only film that you could get away with that. I can't watch that film again. It's a beautiful film, but I can't watch it. Nope. Mm-mm. Talk about freaking crying of tears, bro. That was unnecessary. Beautiful film, but highly unnecessary. First 30 minutes, you got me crying. What's up with you? Ain't no way. And that's the Disney I like. I like when Disney does stories that makes you feel, makes you like the character, makes you understand. You don't have to put every single politics, man. I don't want all this mess in the world that's going on. So what, man? That has nothing to do with the story. Oh, but we're trying to make everything relatable. You made them relatable when you made a good story and made a good character. There was nothing wrong with Mulan, but you just wanted to make her OP in the in the live action film, make her like she's a special girl. No, she wasn't. She wasn't special at all. She was a girl that had a great father. Her father couldn't fight. So in order for her father to rest and be easy so he doesn't go off the war, she chose to make an honorable sacrifice and go out to war. Knowing she's a woman and they were not invited to war because that's how in that timeline it was not meant to be. But you know what? She trained, she proved herself. She didn't just get it like naturally. She had to work for it. She was a klutz. It wasn't until she trained and took everything really seriously and actually focused on what she needed to do is when she became and quote unquote a bad queen is as what you would say, a Disney princess, all right? Undoubtedly one of my favorites, okay? She earned that. The live action Pocahontas, I mean not Pocahontas, but the live action Mulan, she was like, I'm already special. How, chick? How? Oh, I have these magical abilities. What? Where did that even come from?
Because this is coming off of Disney's mentality of like when it comes to portraying women in movies, they really go off the rails to try and portray women in a light of, oh, they're all powerful, you can do anything that you want to. Not you can, if you work hard, then this can be the payoff. It's all like you're already gifted, you're already fantastic, you're already blessed. It's everyone else who's the problem. Or if you're free to be snarky to every single person you come across, and if someone responds to you negatively because of your snarkiness, it's their problem, not your problem. That's the reason why, and I have to reiterate this. We as individuals do not have problems with female characters. We just have a problem with poorly written female characters. And when you write female characters in movies and TV shows and video games to be better than everyone else, but everyone else is, worse to make that woman seem better in comparison, that's not a properly written character. If you make characters like Rey Skywalker slash Palpatine, where she has all the power and then none of the training, and then none of the drama, and none of the character flaws that you would clearly see in Luke, and you're supposed to just like her immediately, that's not a well-written character. The Force is female! No, it isn't. Stop it. Stop it. That's the reason why the Acolyte is trash. Because you're still trying to go by this mentality that every woman that exists in the world can never be truly questioned. They can never be shown to have flaws. They don't have any flaws. They're just perfect. And if anyone bucks up against them, then it's everyone else's fault, not theirs. And those are poorly written characters. And I'm a dude. But I feel it makes women look bad when characters like that are created simply because it brings up this mentality that, oh, this makes women feel like, well, they can do whatever they want to and get away with it, and that's perfectly fine. That's allowed in society. That should be the norm when it is not. When you have characters like Sarah Connor, when you have Ellen Ripley, when you have Laura Croft, when you have all of these different characters that have been in different types of media and they were portrayed well. They weren't just these women who did everything. They weren't just these women who did everything perfectly. They weren't people who got it all right. They made mistakes. And you know what happens when you make a mistake? It humanizes you. You know what happens when you get a character that never makes a single mistake and they're supposed to be portrayed as perfect? And everyone is supposed to be portrayed as an idiot around them? That doesn't humanize. That turns it into a token. And I find that so insufferable when you make characters like that. I'm going on a rant right now. I hope you don't mind. It makes the character insufferable when I see them on screen, and it makes the person, and it's even worse when the person who is portraying this character has that same mentality, and it's the internet's fault that people don't like a show, that people don't like the character. It's everyone else's fault. It's not that character. It's not that person's fault because they can't act. It's not that person's fault because what they were written for this character was done poorly, because that's the state. And I use Acolyte as an example because it's an example of a person who knows nothing about Star Wars, who can't write a story to save their lives, dangles like very bright and loud keys of pivotal Star Wars moments in front of your face, like, look, it's Darth Plagueis. He's at the end of the show. And I'm like, so you're going to ruin Darth Plagueis now. Great. Good to know. But the entire time, and not only that, but they just go out of, and when you have someone who does not truly understand Star Wars, you get shows like The Acolyte. People who can't act sometimes be asked to write shows. People who can't write shows for Disney. That is how things are going. So when you get someone like Leslie Headland, who knows little to nothing about Star Wars, let alone will admit that George Lucas actually has a good universe to build from, and you're just deciding, and Kathleen Kennedy gives her the okay of like, don't make a Star Wars show, make a Leslie Headland show. We don't know you, Leslie Headland, except for you being the personal assistant of Harvey Weinstein. Do with that information what you will. But you clearly don't know anything about Star Wars, which is why the show sucks. People coming out of the woodworks, Star Wars Theory, the Every Frame a Pause, the Star Wars girl, I forget her name, but she does like, I think it's Snarky J. Her name is Snarky J. All these people coming out of the woodworks calling out this show, for example, and the reason why Disney is allowing this is because they really do believe, like, we need to have this show completely headlined by a woman, and that'll make it great. And if anyone has a problem, let me roll. We need to have this show headlined by a woman because it's automatically going to be great. And if anyone says anything out against it, then they're sexist. They have a problem with women. It's the internet's fault. They're review bombing because they don't understand what we're trying to do. And I'm like, the moment you start turning women into a token to be, held up as like, hey, we got a woman doing our show. Okay, that's nice. Is she good at writing shows? No, but hey, look, we got a woman on our show. We got a woman creating this new show. That no one cares, okay? I don't care who you are. If you can make a good show, write a good show, the gender does not matter. It should not matter. That should be the last thing that pops up into your head in conversation. Oh, this show was good. The show was good because it was written by a woman. That doesn't mean anything. The show could be written by a man, but if it's trash writing, it's trash. Regardless, trash is indifferent to gender, okay? Bad writing is indifferent to gender. And what gets on my nerves about Disney is that they really want to go out of their way to try and make it seem normal that it's okay for them to hire people who have no idea how to make TV shows, let alone continue a section of an already established universe that is so deep in lore, so deep in people's minds, almost like over 60 years worth of Star Wars existing. And you let people who don't know anything about the show would rather turn it into their own therapy session, put in their wife that can't act, put in people who are just basically walking slabs of cardboard, introducing themes into a show that completely destroys any sort of lore that existed for Star Wars as a whole, and we're just supposed to like it. Why? Why should we like anything that Leslie Headland does? Is it because she's a woman? That is such that's such a dumb reason. Any more than I like Black Panther just because T'Challa is black.
That's a brother.
That should not be the reason. That's not the reason why I'm into anything Black Panther related. I'm into stuff that's Black Panther related because I love the character.
Well,
that should be the last thing that pops up into your head. Oh, this show is good because a woman wrote it. Can she write? Can she write good shows? No.
I'm asking these questions.
No, I refuse. They don't want me asking these questions. Why? No one's asking, why should we like The Acolyte? Because it's a new take on Star Wars. Okay, so what was this quote from Kathleen Kennedy that said that don't make a Star Wars show, but a Leslie Headland show? Do you think that will go over well with fans who have enjoyed George Lucas's universe after all this time? And if your response to people who have an issue with your show is it's their fault, it's bad. Sorry, stupid. We didn't write the show. It's not our fault if the show is bad. We are not getting paid $180 million for this to watch your show. You are. So if the show is bad, it's not our fault. If we're saying it's bad, it's not our fault. There must be some reason if tons of people are saying The Acolyte is the complete destruction of Star Wars. If it was actually good, we wouldn't be getting that. And I have to agree, Kitty, they are not listening to the feedback. They're not listening to the feedback because they're under the impression, especially when they're Disney-driven individuals, specifically anyone that is given the okay by Kathleen Kennedy, specifically the people like Leslie Headland. If they're given the okay, like, do what you want. Don't worry about the haters. Like, first of all, if we don't like your show, I'm not disliking your show just because other people say it's bad. I'm disliking it because there are certain things in your show that don't make sense, that seem odd. I don't dislike things for no reason. There's always a reason for me disliking something. I dislike Marvel's Avengers because I think it's an absolute abomination in the eyes of all things Marvel and its entire existence. I can't stand that. I can't stand it. I dislike live-action Disney movies because they lose the heart of what you could clearly get in animation. I dislike stuff that's being done for Star Wars right now simply because they have people who are helming it that don't know anything about Star Wars in general, but want to create their own shows and do dumb stuff and get paid millions of dollars. Get paid millions of dollars to run these shows into the ground and expect everyone to like it just because, oh, we worked really hard on it. So, just because you work really hard on it don't mean it's good. That's just me though. I can't stand, and that's the stance that Disney has that I just can't get behind. See,
me neither.
See, when you introduce people who are helming your show, who not only have very few credits that lets me see that, hey, this is a viable person to do this sort of thing, you already are losing me. don't put people whose only credit is like writing commercials and giving them the entire helm for a multi-million-dollar show that you're going to be putting on public television. See, this sort of decision making requires common sense. You understand? This is something that is no longer as common as it used to be. And Disney, with all the money that it's making, apparently common sense is so expensive that they are not able to afford it as much as they were able to. So that's the reason why we're in the state where we are right now, where almost you can't look at Disney and say, like, I'm looking forward to everything that they're doing. That used to be the case. That used to be the case. And then you find out all the shady stuff that they've been doing behind the scenes. Like, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you heard of it recently. There was a whistleblower for Disney, and they basically reveal, like, oh, we don't hire men of this ethnicity in there. They have to be of a certain ethnicity. And I'm like, are you serious?
Oh, so
Really?
they're being racist. Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so it's
Okay.
clear that you did not hear about this before. So there was a journal. What's common sense? Disney doesn't know. But there was someone who was secretly interviewing a person, an executive that worked for Disney, and they revealed that, oh, we have this one person, but because of they were of this ethnicity, they were not going to get the hire. They were not going to get the job at all. I can tell you right now, they were not going to get the job. And this is a person that works on Disney. Of course, they were being recorded at the time, so that stuff is public knowledge. If you just look up like Disney secret interview or whatever. And they were in a restaurant talking about this. So look, when you get the chance, look it up, because it just shows you that Disney is out here basically being discriminatory towards people that could actually, you want to work with them, but they're all like, not female enough. Not diverse enough on the skin tone. None of that. So it's really ridiculous, the mentality that Disney has become. Instead of looking for people who actually have a creative mind, they're looking for people that have creative skin tones. Like, remember back in the day when we used to get movies like Incredibles.
Yeah.
And we used to get stuff like animated movies like Treasure Planet and Lilo and Stitch, Brother Bear. There were so many of these things that we used to get in the past, and now it's all like, well, 3D animation is better, and we don't get that sort of animated movie quality 2D. We don't get those 2D animations anymore. Why? Because now it's all about 3D.
You know, that reminds me, the whole skin tone thing reminds me of that episode, Bob. You're not tan enough.
So when I hear about anything that Disney is doing, it just comes off as like, especially when it comes to Star Wars, because the problem is they keep allowing people who are not in any way either invested in what's going on with Star Wars or have any knowledge about Star Wars, to the point where you're getting random people who are just inserting all this random stuff in there that doesn't make sense Star Wars wise. And now Star Wars is suffering a major divide.
Oh yeah, it's split, buddy.
It's the biggest divide I have ever seen for Star Wars at all. People are looking at the prequel trilogy like, oh, perhaps we treated you far too harshly. And then the original trilogy, and then the original trilogy is all like, please don't touch this. And then the sequel trilogy, no one wants, because that's when the Star Wars really started to go downhill, because you had people who were just doing some of the dumbest stuff possible. How you gonna make a Star Wars film and not have all of the 3 major original main characters from the original trilogies together in one scene? At all. You don't have them show up at any point together in one singular movie. That was one of the biggest wasted opportunities for Star Wars then. Then you introduce Rey, which they really tried to turn into one big major thing, but she just came off as insufferable. She just came off as like this. She's the trademark Mary Sue. And one thing we all love when it comes to movies is a Mary Sue, because the world loves one of those. but it just fell flat. And then Adam Driver, bless his heart, tried his best. It was the hardest one, who was the only person who was acting the hardest out of everyone, even with the trash that he was given as far as his character was concerned. He was the only redeeming part of like the movie, that and Palpatine and his Sith lightning at the end, even though Palpatine should have been dead, but Disney can't let things stay dead because dead things don't make them money. So you got to bring Star Wars back. So I'm at a point right now when I look at Disney and I look at anything Star Wars related, other than The Mandalorian and Andor, I still gotta watch that. I've never seen that myself. Other than that, I'm just wondering just get George Lucas back, because at least he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. No, you don't talk common sense, Qushu. You don't talk common.
Kitty, I agree with you. Don't we all bleed the same? We do.
We do. Yes, that is true.
We do. We all do. We all bleed the same. But for some people, it's more about like what's on top of the blood. Like, what can you offer me in return? Not the depth of your character, not your personality, not what you can offer as an individual. Just you being who you are as a person. What can you do for me skin tone wise that'll win me points just in case I get in an argument on social media? Because it's not because this is how I view things. And I feel like Disney has lost their way in that sort of thing. I don't care what skin tones you got on top. I don't care what orientation you want to be in. I don't care who you love. The only thing that matters to me is your character. If your character is trash, anything else you can forget it. You can forget it. If your character is trash and you're rude and you're dismissive and you feel like you're superior to anyone else simply because of everything else other than your own character, everyone else's fault, but it's never your own, stuff like that, I don't care. If your character, it's the character that should be the main deciding factor for everything. Everything. It should not be what you got on the top of your skin, your financial state, your where you come from, or anything of that nature. Because just if you're not, and I really feel like this is a major issue for not just Disney, but a lot of other places as well. You take one look at a person, and if they don't look like a person that you could see as being part of like a high echelon or something, then it's like, oh, well, forget about that person. And I feel like so many people have taken it to heart way too often that it's really the deciding factor on how people should be treated. And hearing that Disney was looking at people and was all like, oh, we're not going to hire him because he's not diverse enough. Physically speaking, he's not diverse enough. I'm just thinking, wow. So you're just taking everything that Walt Disney built up for everybody and making it so that it is built up for only those you deem worthy of your time. But you want everyone to love you. Foolish!
Well, I have to get my discrepancies out on Star Wars. Just on one minor sentence. Now, listen. Body weight, it is what it is, all right? Everybody comes in all shapes and sizes. Okay. All right, I like all shapes and sizes. All right. I'm not saying anything to anybody. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. I am sorry, but that little Teletubby you got at freaking Acolyte is a Jedi? There's no way in any universe he is a Jedi. He's not physically fit to be a Jedi. He would literally die in the Clone Wars. He would die. You're not telling me this is true. Oh, the Force is fit. No, it isn't. You have to train. Why do you think freaking Chris Hayden and Ewan are freaking buff and muscular? Because they had to train for it. Even freaking, what's his name? Samuel Jackson. You think Andom brothers were freaking fat? No, they weren't. Stop giving these like, oh, my body, my choice. No, brother, you are a warrior. If you're going to be a tank, be a tank. Okay, I can understand that. I can understand if you a brute, you a bruiser. Cool. But you don't look intimidating, my brother. You look like a boy. You look like the dough boy. You like the dough boy. Like you had like 5-6 meals before you got here, man.
They literally took a Jedi and just called him Jedi Diabetes. That's literally what that is.
Literally. For what reason? Where did you come from? I came from such and such over the crossover yonder. Hey, man.
No, you got to do like this, man. Man, it's been so long, man. I've been waiting for you. I ate all my rations before I got here, man.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
That's crazy.
I was hungry. Y'all took so long, man.
How you still breathing?
It's hot. It's hot.
You about to die. And you know what, man? And that's why I said, I was like, you know what, bro? I wouldn't be surprised if you know, AKA they call me Sith. You know, came over there and just said, what is this? And just chopped his head off. Like, what is this? This is the High Republic?
This is here's the thing about the Acolyte that just continues to make absolutely no sense, because people were arguing up and down, oh, he's not gonna say he's a Sith. He's not gonna say he's a Sith. And then he says, like, there's some who call me Sith. And I'm like, huh? So y'all just revealing yourselves before the Phantom Menace? How does that make sense? So y'all just making stuff up. And then what makes it worse is that not only do they bring in Ki-Adi-Mundi, who technically is not even supposed to be alive during this entire series, but they also bring in Yoda at the end, as if to say, wow, Yoda knew about all this and kept it to himself. So now you're trying to make everything that happened in the Phantom Menace just look bad. Mind you, that's only for people who actually take the Acolyte seriously and look at it as an actual part of Star Wars. I don't. It's a show, but I don't see it as canon. I don't care what Disney says. There ain't enough money in the world for me to vocally say, like, oh, this is canon and I accept it. On my end, at least, you guys are breaking up. Oh, I'm sorry. How's it look? Everything good?
I'm good. I'm okay.
It's on your end. Ah, I see. But the Acolyte is an example of there's an idea. So we're gonna. There was an idea.
Doughboy Jedi formed together.
Jed diabetes.
Formed together to stop this one cookie. Look, I just no.
I bet you if you poke him in the stomach, you go like,
like, no, bro. Like,
but
man,
here's the thing. I can't for the life of me. Because you saw what he looked like, right?
Yes.
Big dude looked like 6'1". I cannot, in my wildest dreams, honestly see him doing a Jedi jump or doing any flips like Obi-Wan or Anakin or literally
if it
any
does,
other.
It's gonna look funny.
And it is, because it's going to be like, yeah, that's CGI. Out of all the uses of CGI, that looks the most CGI. Seeing him do anything physical. But you can't, because he's not physically capable of portraying what a Jedi's supposed to be. And I highly doubt that during the High Republic era, they never thought, maybe we need to train our bodies physically in order for us to fully commune with the Force and be better Jedi. You can't tell me that no one thought that. Because then we got
Jedis
these
are monks.
Yeah. They train themselves all the time. You can't tell me that you are Jedi Padawan Hefty over on the side, and he's all like, okay, we just need you to train your mind. Don't train your body to be in tune with your mind. Just train your mind. And he trained his mind way more often than everybody else. So, and then there's also other people. The thing about being a Jedi is that it's not only a mentally demanding job, it is a physically demanding job. You never saw a single big person in Star Wars. Sure, you saw big people because they were different alien races, and that's because that's their whole build, that's their whole size, but even then they were capable of being very functional Jedi. But you never saw one where he was all like, this Joker eating too many Bacta treats over here. He is taking way too many meditation breaks by himself in his room, and I'm keep finding rappers underneath his bed. You don't see any Jedis like that because it's both a mentally and physically demanding job. So when you introduce characters whose physical size contradicts every single thing that a Jedi is, it makes me question, did you even watch the movies? How many big Jedi have you seen? None?
Zero.
Where's this one? Was he an anomaly? Did y'all pick the wrong baby when y'all took him to the Jedi Temple? Did you think he just had a swelling when he was younger? Did you think it was perpetual swelling when he was growing? Because at some point, this dude was a Padawan. This dude was a youngling. Young. And y'all let him get...
And that's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, the diet of a Jedi? What's the diet of the Jedi is not that serious.
They let him get that size. You can't tell me like the Jedi was all like, eat, drink, and be merry, do whatever y'all want to, just make sure y'all are capable of using y'all lightsabers. No! There were mandates. There were rules. Because you can't tell me that this Joker was never taught. There were tests, physical tests. You are not allowed to wear a Jedi robe if you can't jump. So I see characters like him. And then you got characters who are the complete reverse, who are so stick skinny that I'm like, how are you even alive? There are people who are devoid of fitness on the hefty side in the Acolyte, and then there are those who need to work out to build muscle because they're just that skinny. You're not winning a lightsaber blocking battle. You're gonna get blocked by someone and they're gonna immediately push your arm up against you and you might get sliced in half because you have no muscle definition. You are too skinny to be in this Jedi temple. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. There are just so many polarizing things in the Acolyte that just don't make sense in terms of like character design. Then you got the two characters that are created from nothing, from the witches of Brenor or Brekvor or whatever the planet is called. And it's just like, yeah, we're just going to manipulate the Force and do whatever we want to with absolutely no repercussions. And it's like, oh, so you're just looking at what happened to Anakin because he was technically, in lore-wise, people say that he was supposed to be conceived by the Force when Darth Plagueis tried to create a perfect Force-sensitive being that would be the end of the Jedi. And Anakin was created in response to that by the Force as a way of saying like, nah, you don't get to create nobody. So we're going to create somebody so he can be the downfall of all Sith. You're welcome. That's what you get for acting up. So we get the Acolyte that introduces not one, but two children perfectly made by manipulating the Force.
And they're women.
And I'm gonna get to that whole thing. And they were perfectly created and conceived by this coven of witches, basically creating them using the Force with absolutely no repercussions. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't do that and make it make sense because then it just like you can't do that. That's not allowed. You can't do that and not have no repercussions. What you think this is? Just like this is not like free-range alchemy in Skyrim. This is equivalent to exchange. Something has to be given up in exchange. So you get these two girls who are created perfectly, and they're dyads on this planet. And they're basically supposed to be twins, even though the people who portray them when they're kids, neither one of them look like one another. They're just light-skinned black kids with the same hairstyle. And the Jedi come and they come questioning like, hey, we need to train these, we would, if you, with your permission, we have the right to train these kids. And mind you, these witches are trying to make it seem like, oh, we're the good guys. Meanwhile, the first time the Jedi show up at their home, the head person in charge takes control of the mind of one of the Jedi and threatens his life, and then but they want to play the victim and says like, you come here to take our children away. And I'm like, y'all only got 2 kids. Y'all only got 2 children. Who is our children? Y'all, are these 2 girls everyone's kids? So what is this? So they contradict themselves, trying to make it seem like, oh, we're being persecuted. The universe doesn't like our kind. And I'm like, oh, so this is Leslie Headland's therapy section of the TV show. Okay. Simply because, you know, she's she's gay and she's got a wife. She's got to make sure that everyone realizes, like, oh, gay people are so ostracized and they don't like our kind. And I'm like, are you serious? Is this a joke? So that whole theme just continues. They make it seem like they're the big victims against the Jedi, and it's the Jedi who are wrong, and they want to, and there's no such thing as good or evil, and I'm like, and there's only power and those who are able to wield it, and I'm like, no, there's good and evil. If you are taking control of the mind of a Jedi and threatening his life because some Jedi showed up and just questioned, hey, can we test your kids? Because they seem like they could be making some magnificent Jedi. And your first thought is to mind control one of their very own Jedi right next to them, threaten their lives, and tell them to leave? But it's the Jedi who are wrong? And that's the first thing you do? And then it culminates in like all the coven of witches. It gets to the point where one of the main characters, Soul, one of the main character from Squid Games, the main guy from Squid Games, he's one of the Jedis, and he notices one of the girls like using the Force, and he wants to save them from this coven of witches because these witches are evil. They are evil. There's nothing that they are doing that sounds good. And it culminates in one of the sisters threatening to kill everyone. Like, she literally smashes the controls for everyone to be able to escape and then proceeds to set fire to the entire village where the witches are. And mind you, the entire place where they stay is literally inside of a mountain with no escape route. She breaks down the whole control panel for them all to get out, and then she's all like, what did you do? And her sister is all like, what did you do? And I'm like, you set fire to your own home. Then we have a whole moment where it really does. One of the girls, she wants to be a Jedi. She willingly wants to be a Jedi because she's all like, I don't want to be no witch. But everyone's telling her, no, yes, you do. Yes, you do. So we got some grooming going on. So I'm pretty sure Leslie Headland knows a whole bunch about that, working with Harvey Weinstein. So we got a whole bunch of grooming and gaslighting going on. And the good twin is all like, I don't want to be a witch. I want to be a Jedi. And she wants to do that. And everyone's telling her, no, you want to be a witch because the Jedi are evil. And I'm like, all the Jedi have done is want to train you. That's it. But they said it's your choice. They're not forcibly taking you. They just wanted to test you. And if it was your choice, then you can come with them to go train with them. And everyone and all the witches are trying to tell them, no, the Jedi are evil. They want to take our children away. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're literally trying to force a child to stay here against their will. But it's the Jedi who are the problem. So that's already strike one. Well, strike one out of 1,500. And the evil twin, sorry, I'm back. What you missed? Halser, you didn't miss too much. I'm just explaining how dumb the Acolyte is. Kitty, you say, what I don't understand is how all this passes the checklist, or like they threw out the rulebook. They threw out the rulebook. As soon as they bought Star Wars from George Lucas, they threw out everything that George Lucas, stood for, and based on his series, they threw that out the window because apparently Disney knows how to do Star Wars better than the very creator of Star Wars. Because, we got money. We got smart people. We'll figure it out. Well, more ranting, but you get what I mean. Yeah, I am. So it gets to a point where the girl that wants to be a Jedi, she wants to leave, and it culminates in the head witch suddenly turning into like this big smoke monster where it looks like she's about to disintegrate the girl. And Soul, who is the guy from Squid Games, who is the good Jedi, the only good Jedi, he responds thinking it's a threat and stabs her in the chest, which is understandable. If someone next to you turns into like this creepy cloud monster and it looks like they're about to disintegrate another person behind you, you think you just gonna watch and let it happen? As a Jedi, you respond quickly, and he stabs her in the chest. justified. But it's made to appear like, oh no, I killed their mother. I'm the one in the wrong. I'm like, bruh, she was about to kill the other twin by turning her into dust. You're fine. But the entire show continues to try to put in your head that the Jedi are wrong. The Jedi are evil. And then they really, really hang it in front of your nose saying, like, your actions here will decide the fate of every single Jedi in existence. And I'm like, oh, so you're really dragging that one out there. It's like a person trying to force a rap into a certain tempo, but it doesn't fit, so they say it really quickly, and you know it doesn't fit because they said it too quickly in order to hope that it wins, that it would fit inside. Like an MC Hammer rap verse. He does a lot of lines where he tries to fit a whole bunch in a small amount of space, and you can tell it's forced. There are so many forced lines in The Acolyte. So time progresses, and so many lines are said that are just dumb and stupid, like the evil twin gets trained under a Sith named Chimere, and the first thing that's said, and this is the first episode, mind you. I'm explaining stuff that happens in like the later episodes. Don't worry, the show will continue to get dumber and dumber as time goes on. But I'm just going to focus on the first episode here. So, evil twin is trained to kill Jedi. Why? Because she was told to. And this dude tells her blade or laser poses no threat to them. And multiple times throughout this series, multiple Jedi died due to regular metal blades and lightsabers as well. Some in incredibly brutal fashion. Carrie Ann Moss is supposed to be a very good Jedi. Like, she's the only person that behaves the most Jedi-like out of everyone, and she gets killed in the first episode. So,
Let's go.
So she gets killed by the very same thing that that Chimere told the evil twin would pose no threat to her. She gets killed with a knife to the heart, and she dies. And then time progresses, dumb story moments happen, bad acting happens, moments where a person should die, they don't die, dumb Jedi characters showing up. There's an unreasonable amount of skin being shown from every dude, from almost every dude in the show as well. Like, there's this dude that has this Killmonger haircut, and we call it the Killmonger haircut simply because of how often we see it. This dude is in an episode, and he's shirtless. And I'm thinking, when did we ever make Star Wars into a showcase of man bodies like this? Who asked for this? Why do we need to see a well-built dude who has no shirt on in Star Wars? And mind you, we have seen that dude. We have seen a dude who didn't have a shirt on before, but that was Anakin in like the movies, and that wasn't even a focal point because he was just sitting in his room like having nightmares. But then we got two dudes who are clearly, shirtless, and we need to show how built their bodies are. So they want to focus on that. And then later on, we get Chimere, who literally just skinny dips in water, and he just gets out of the water naked. And I'm thinking, no, Star Wars was never this. Star Wars never had these sort of elements at all. The last thing people had in their minds was thinking, I wonder what these characters look like without any clothes on. No one ever felt that way. Ever. Because the show didn't need that. It was unnecessary because it did nothing for the storytelling. So here you can tell that you get people who don't know how to write, people who don't know how to write proper Star Wars stuff, related stuff. There are certain things that are allowed in Star Wars, but that sort of thing doesn't make sense. The show gets dumber and dumber as time goes on. Moments when they could have killed the Sith character and just wiped him away and have him be kill him, so that the only one we got to concern ourselves with is like Darth Maul and Palpatine, and from like Phantom Menace onwards, and then everyone else, and that's it. But no, there's always these very dumb moments where they keep letting the person who should die live. Which frankly, from Disney's side, I'm getting tired of, because it's just poor writing. Because when you write in moments where a person could die instantly, and then you have a convenience that happens, because the person was like holding a blade up to their throat, not killing them, let themselves get distracted, and then the person gets away. And
Yes.
it's like, no, that's how you write yourselves into a corner, and that's why people call it very bad very bad writing. And then you finish the series with the evil twin becoming the good twin, and the good twin becoming the evil one, and she winds up force choking Soul, who is the force choking Squid Games guy, and he dies. And then the Jedi pin all the blame on him for all of these Jedi deaths that happened throughout the entire first season. Because unfortunately, Acolyte is getting a season 2. Let's go! So
Let's go.
I figured I beat you to the punch before you said it.
Go.
So
Ruin it. Destroy it.
let the hate flow through you.
Yes.
I can feel it swelling.
It's like, bro, what?
No, you will die.
He's like, yeah, we're already dying.
So
We're already dying because our series are
it is
Gosh.
it is so sad that Disney doesn't even know how to do Star Wars stuff anymore. It's a shame. It's a shame. And I know, don't get a hernia. Oh no, I'm fine. I'm not stressing myself doing this voice. This is something I can do naturally. This does not require quite a lot of effort on my part. This is quite easy for me to do. So don't worry, I'm fine. But yes, and now I'm hearing Acolyte is getting a season 2. I want to smash my head through a brick wall. Don't do that because
not gonna be. Good.
Human heads were not meant to smash against anything hard in general. So I would
just don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. I already had no hope for the show, but I generally gave up and was so mad as soon as I heard the words, the Force is female. The Force is not gender specific. Only a moron would say something like that. That is a dumb thing to say. To think that the Force is female, then, okay. So what does it mean for men? Oh, you're just not getting in touch with your feminine side. Okay, that just sounds dumb.
I'm good. I got testosterone. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just that sort of statement is incredibly foolish to just say. Because now you're automatically trying to ostracize every other person in the room who just likes the Force as it is. The Force just is. It's not gender specific. No matter how many t-shirts you wear at live public events, that's not how that works. And you're not going to win. You're not going to win any flies. You're not going to win any honeybees with that.
Yeah, I can keep that mess. I'm good. That's why I haven't watched Star Wars in years, because the last Star Wars content I watched was The Mandalorian. And even then,
getting off on the Star Wars, can we talk about Outlaws for a little bit?
No.
Look. Did you watch the gameplay for the link I sent you?
Yeah, I watched the gameplay.
What you think?
No, it's hideous. What you want? What you want me to say? Oh, it's great. It's awesome. No, it's not. I didn't ask for this.
I was not about to. I would hope you wouldn't say that. Oh, it's great. It's awesome, because you and I know better, bro. So me and Gajeel, we had this discussion. Okay, here, let's see. Like, I think, and this is something from Kitty. I think a lot of what's going on in movies, women are as strong as men. We can do the same. This only popped up when people started getting confused on their gender.
Yes. Yo, exactly like Kitty. And it also, the Olympics did something crazy too.
Pardon if I offended. No, you didn't.
You didn't offend nobody. Look, if you watch the Olympics, the first 30 minutes of all that mess that they just did.
Hey, I don't know nothing about the Olympics and the opening of what they did. I don't want to know anything. That is brain space. That is brain space that I would rather dedicate to running my channel than literally doing anything else. I don't care what they did during the Olympics. I heard it was sacrilegious, but I don't want it. I'm not interested. I'm not interested because the Olympics haven't interested me since I was a teenager. I don't care about sporting events like that.
I stopped. It ruined it. That's all I'm gonna say. It ruined it.
So no, I'm good. I'm not interested in what happened during the Olympics. Yeah,
Outlaws is
Outlaws.
travesty.
Dude.
Travesty.
So me and Gajeel, we were talking about Outlaws, and I specifically need to bring up the musical cues. So when you heard the music in the game, did it fit the situation?
No. It just came out of nowhere.
Like the opening for the video from IGN,
Yeah.
where it had that big fanfare, and then she gets blown away by a thermal detonator. That did not fit.
Which is hilarious.
That was
I've
not
laughed at
that
that.
was not a big musical fanfare moment. And then the gameplay just felt, how do you make a game about Star Wars boring to watch?
Ubisoft, dude.
See, that's what everyone is saying. Ubisoft is the reason why many people are trying to avoid, are not looking forward to Star Wars Outlaws, because Ubisoft has a habit of doing the same old stuff and never innovating. But trying to make fun of other games that are doing more successful than them. We haven't forgotten when Ubisoft tried to call out Elden Ring for not having all their stuff on screen for people to see. Or saying, like, it's crazy how a game like this is getting praised, and we've been doing this for so long, and it's like, y'all been doing this for so long, and y'all have learned nothing. So that's the reason why we love Elden Ring. Because they actually learned. But Star Wars Outlaws, I seen the gameplay. 10 minutes of something that just felt boring to watch. And I listened to this short where this person who was helping develop the game was describing the game. And the key word that came to mind was like, we made this place as big as we can, but doesn't elaborate on what that means. We made this game like an open world Star Wars game as big as we can, but like I said, doesn't elaborate on what as big as we can means as a whole. Okay, you made it as big as you can, but what does that mean though?
Yeah.
We filled it with stuff that will pique your interest. So okay, so
what?
Yeah.
Is
Doesn't
there Jedi? Are we going to a Jedi temple?
Doesn't that sound like a Ubisoft game?
Yeah, it does. It sounds like I'm on
We
a big
filled it
open
with
map.
stuff. Like, and we've seen it, and the thing that gets me for a game like this is that a lot of the places where they're going open world, there's a lot of open space. I can understand if you make this maps a little bit smaller and it's filled with stuff. But when you start going in a direction of, let's just make these very big wide open maps, but just kind of pepper them with stuff here and there. And the gameplay itself just doesn't gel with me. I mean, I won't be playing Star Wars Outlaws. I've already said this. I won't be playing this. Because doesn't that come out in like October?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I think it's supposed to be coming. Yeah, because in my mind, I can't even remember what the release date is. We're going to be playing Black Myth.
On the 11th.
We are supposed to be getting Black Myth Wukong next month. Mind you, the start of August begins on Thursday, which is coincidentally the same day that Solo Leveling Ragnarok is also supposed to start. Looking forward to that. But
yeah, let's go.
August is supposed to be the month for Black Myth Wukong. Already going to be fun. And then the month after that, it's supposed to be Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
Space Marines.
Those are going to be immensely fun games to play. I cannot wait to bring those games to this channel for all of you. It's going to be incredibly fun. So thank you for the support thus far, so I can play all these games for you guys. But going back to like video games, me and Gajeel, we talk about this all the time. What is for the world of Star Wars, what would you rank the appeal of wanting to be an outlaw versus being a Jedi or Sith or a bounty hunter or even a Mandalorian? What is the appeal of trying to be the next Han Solo?
0. No offense, I'd rather play as Han Solo. That's what made me bought the game. Like,
you could have,
or Chewie.
You could have, because the feeling that I'm getting here is that we're getting another female character in a story where, you need to feel bad for her because she's down on her luck. But characters like this, not all of them are written properly in a way where you can, resonate with them and feel a certain way about them and, understand their story. But this just feels like it just comes off as basic. There's only one Han Solo. You are absolutely right, Kitty.
Exactly. And now
there's
he
only
is,
one. Now
yeah.
they're trying to make another attempt at making another Han Solo because Han Solo is pretty much dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
And they're trying to revitalize an aspect of Star Wars that only Han Solo had was an expert in, basically being a smuggler. I mean, they tried to give us a preview of this with Poe in the sequel trilogy, but no one cared. So now when I look at Star Wars Outlaws, I'm looking at them trying to create yet another Han Solo, but with none of the charisma, none of the likability, and it just comes off as wooden in the attempt. Han shot first. Tale as old as time. That debate will probably still go on for as long as the Earth keeps spinning. But Star Wars Outlaws doesn't gel with me at all. If we had gotten a Mandalorian game instead, that would have gotten people. There's so much potential for the Mandalorian. So much potential. Because there's just something about Mandalorians and bounty hunters and Jedi and Sith that will sell. Because those are the more extravagant angles of Star Wars that really gets people's attention. Sure, you got smugglers and outlaws and stuff, but smugglers and outlaws like, what's her name? I don't even know her name in the Outlaws.
I don't know her name either. I can't remember.
Games like that, sure, it's nice, but it's like, is this something Han Solo would do? Why couldn't we just get a Han Solo game? And you can't tell me you ain't got a voice for him because you got a voice actor for him. And you can't tell me you can't get someone who can do the voice of Chewbacca because there's tons of people who can do that. So, I feel like it's a missed opportunity once again. And I feel like it's going to be a hot minute before we get anything else Star Wars related. And it also doesn't help that this is also being helmed by Ubisoft, who is known for trying to release 15 different versions of their game with increasing monetary prices. And, locking behind sections of stories. Behind different editions. So, it's already a bad look because Ubisoft is behind it. But also the new angle is also new Outlaws angle just doesn't feel like it's gelling for me. But that's just me. But I'm not worried about. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be too worried about it. I'll watch other people play it. I will definitely watch reviews. I cannot wait to see all the silliness that this game is going to create. But my next big game that I'm going to be messing with is, of course, a little bit of Marvel Rivals. And, of course, Black Myth Wukong, which comes out shortly after my mother's birthday. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Because Black Myth Wukong, that's one of the first Unreal Engine 5 games that was in development for the past couple of years. So to see it finally get done and to see gameplay and to play it, I can't wait. Playing as a Monkey King, give me his staff. Give me them threads. Give me them powers. Let me upgrade this baby. Let me walk around with... Bruh. Let me just say this about Black Myth Wukong. And I'll probably have this conversation again if they have another, new trailer for it. If they let us have the armor of the Monkey King himself, complete with those long feathers on top, and you get, the whole set, and it's, the most overpowered set in the game, I'm going to be so incredibly happy. Getting his exact staff.
You remember?
During gameplay? Oh, right.
Remember?
When he was fighting fighting in that giant, fighting that giant army in the clouds. Yeah. I can't wait for that. What you mean in this? What you mean in this action Souls-like game? We have a Muso mode where we're fighting hundreds of dudes with our super staff. What you mean? Huh? What you mean? So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Black Myth Wukong, and I am also looking forward to Space Marine 2, because it's actually made me want to dive into Space Marine lore and find out more about it. because I pulled up the page for the basic Space Marine, like just like the basic space, like the quintessential definition of a Space Marine. What is it? The spec something Astartes?
Oh,
So,
talking about the Astartes?
yes, like the just basically your average Space Marine and what they are in terms, and the 1,000 chapters, the 1,000 chapters that they have that have the different varieties of whatnot. And there's so much information that I feel is going to take me forever to read through everything about Space Marines lore related. But Space Marines 2 looks incredible. All those enemies we get to fight, bro, if they ever add a horde mode to Space Marine 2 on top of the multiplayer, I will be happy. Incredibly so. But Black Myth Wukong and Space Marine 2 are among my biggest games that I really do want to cover on this channel. So once again, thank you everybody for supporting the channel thus far, so I can actually, get to play those games. I appreciate it. But back to GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink, because we've been talking about how long have we been talking for about GRANBLUE? Like, how many hours has it been? How long has it been? 3 hours.
About 3
It's been
hours.
3. Yeah, it's been 3 hours. I think. What you think? I think we covered everything that we wanted to cover,
Yeah,
GRANBLUE wise, and we covered everything else that we really wanted to talk about as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. Overall, GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink, just going back to it, is one of the greatest games we have ever played, and I really wish that more games would look at it and actually create more stuff with that foundation. I really wish they would. And then I really wish we would get some more stuff from DC as far as games are concerned, because I feel like they're not truly dipping into the pretty much boundless amount of material that they have to create video games and other things. And I'm looking forward to whatever Marvel's doing, because at least I can trust them to do something with what they have. So there's that, and I'm looking forward to any brand new Musos. So hopefully this upcoming Tokyo Game Show, I think it's going to be either in August or September. I got to look that up again. Hopefully the new Tokyo Game Show will reveal some new Musos. Hopefully some IP Usos, and not just, Dynasty Warriors Origins. Hopefully they'll give us some new Musos that I can actually look forward to. But other than that, I think we covered everything.
Yep, we did.
Halster says, for me, it's Marvel Rising. Are you saying Marvel Rivals? I want to play that, and then it'll be Space Marine 2 as well as Baldur's Gate 3, but that doesn't really count since it's not a new game, not out yet. It's new if you haven't played it. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but some... oh, right! Bleach is supposed to be coming out in October as well. We're supposed to be getting...
Yeah.
Ooh.
The conflict.
Yes.
The conflict.
So we're getting Bleach in October, and then we're getting Solo Leveling Ragnarok on Thursday. So I'm probably going to be doing Beginning After the End and Solo Leveling Ragnarok after that. So my Thursdays are probably going to be even more busy. Wow. Yeah. Whew. I'm just going to have to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna have to prepare like I did last time. But this time, however, I'm not gonna have the logo of Solo Leveling in my thumbnail. I don't want to go through another strike like I did last year. So I'm just gonna make my thumbnails up like I did last time. But yes, am I ready? Yes and no, because it's been a minute since I read the story of Solo Leveling. It's been a minute since I read the story of Solo Leveling, but at the same time, I'm ready to dive back in because a lot of people came to my channel because I was reading Solo Leveling, and now we're getting the next iteration of the story with Solo Leveling Ragnarok. Dude, just joined the stream. Unfortunately, you're pretty much at the tail end of it because Yeah, we've been going on for like 3 hours, and me and Gajeel, we pretty much said everything that we wanted to say concerning our GRANBLUE Fantasy Relink review, and then talking about everything from Marvel to DC to Star Wars and Disney and everything in between. So it's been a bit of a lively stream for today. Just wanted to leave a like to help the algorithm. Boo Boo Dude, I am so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It does help the algorithm. Let everyone know the greatness that is of Qushu 92 and his buddy Gajeel. Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be fun. But ladies and gentlemen, we've said everything that we needed to say. It has been an honor and a privilege to be your entertainers this evening. I'm going to go ahead and rest and eat the rest of my Philly steak that I have saved up from earlier today. And then I'm going to chill out for the day and then set up for Sakamoto Days on Monday and then set up for Marvel Rivals on Tuesday. And then something's supposed to be happening on Wednesday. I'm trying to remember. I'm supposed to be doing something on Wednesday. I completely forgot. It'll come back to me. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, all I can say to you, Kitty, Dude, Holster, CDs, everyone, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe to not only me, but also to Gajeel as well, because we are always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!